Hello, I am Gregory the Poor Typist, and welcome to another edition of Typewriter Club Live. Today, our topic is, and you see it there on the screen, typing in other languages. So, I've never tried to type in another language. Um, I It had crossed my mind to try typing in Pig Latin, but I have yet to do it. So, and then our type pal Close gave me a typewriter it's a daisy wheel typewriter with a Spanish print wheel on it. So yeah, I have no excuse. All right. So I'll basically remind you that Type Pals is and always will be free. So if you enjoy exchanging letters or postcards with other people using your typewriter, feel free to join us at typepals.com. So yeah, very cool. We have a couple of people joining us. And yeah, I added last week I added one light and now I added another light. So hopefully I'm but if I look over that way, there's a bright light in my eyes and I'm temporarily blinded. Yes. I see a new face. Ryan Owen, welcome.
Hey, how are you?
Good, good. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, well, I saw the topic. I usually watch on YouTube, and I saw the
Okay.
topic about this is typing in foreign languages, right?
Yeah.
Which is something that's near and dear to my heart. So I'm like, well, I have to call into the
Oh,
live version today and hear what people have to say about this.
excellent, excellent. Well, since you are new, did you just want to tell a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I haven't actually watched an intro before, so I'm not really sure what you guys cover, but I guess I'll start with typewriters. Um, so I like the old ones. I have 7 of them. And they date from 1920 to 1966. I use them mostly for writing fiction. I'm a writer during the day too for my day job, but I use the typewriters just for as a hobby. I restore them, and I write mostly creative fiction, speculative fiction with them. And yeah, I usually listen on the YouTube channel and work on typewriters, but today I wanted to call in and experience the live version.
You know, I hear people all the time saying that they're watching or listening in as they work on their typewriters, and
Yep.
it warms my heart. I think that's awesome. So, and
Yeah.
of course, we have people actually on the stream that work on typewriters too. So that's cool too. Yeah.
I think I listened last week and you were helping another first-time caller with an issue with one of her typewriters. I don't have any issues that I need help with today, but I'm
Okay.
working on right outside the camera. I have an Olympia typewriter that I picked up for $10 from like some guy who was just going to throw it away the next day if he didn't sell it on Facebook Marketplace. But the caveat is it's full of WD-40. So every time I use it, it loosens up again. And then I pull it out again a week later and it's like pressing down on the keys. So I was using the time to clean it out today.
Excellent, excellent. And whereabouts are you located?
I'm just outside of Boston, near New Hampshire.
Okay. Now, we have quite a few authors in our group, and I do like to support our authors.
Oh, cool.
Do you have anywhere where we can check out your writing?
Yeah, I do a lot of ghostwriting, so not that stuff. But
Okay.
let's see. I have a regional blog, Forgotten New England, that I've had for 12 years. That's a pretty good pretty good regional following. I've also been published in some regional magazines, and I have some fiction upcoming in a few publications. I think the first one's set to go live in June, so I'm a little bit behind the gun on getting the fiction published, but it is coming this year.
Okay, excellent, excellent. Very cool.
Cool.
And what role do the typewriters play in this?
Inspiration. I'm not old enough to have used a typewriter for my main writing implement. I mean, I guess I used them like in middle school and high school and like the word processor. And then by the time I got to college, it was, you know, computers and the internet, and it was just so much faster.
Yes.
So I still like I'm kind of a native computer writer because I like having the online thesaurus and the dictionary and like being able to look stuff up on the internet. But I do like sitting down and just writing something for the, you know, the tactile feel of the keys, and also it's much easier not to get distracted when you're writing with a typewriter. So I use it for that.
Yes.
And you know, it's pretty cool to write. I also write historical fiction, so it's pretty cool to write historical fiction on something that's, you know, I think like I said, all of my typewriters are functional mostly. There's one that I'm still working on, and they all date from the 20s up through the 60s. So it's sort of
Okay.
inspirational. Yeah, inspirational, I guess, or it
Yeah.
inspires ideas. I also collect old clocks, which you might be able to see behind me.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, other old stuff as well.
Now you mentioned historical fiction.
Yeah.
You don't happen to write westerns, do you?
I've written one, haven't published it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, I do have occasionally I do westerns. Being here in the New England area, I tend to do more stuff that's sort of like focused around here. I've lived in Europe a little bit, so I write with that as a setting as well.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I love westerns. So
I do
I
have one Western piece, but I've never actually tried to publish it or anything.
oh, okay, okay. Yeah, I know it's not true, but I like to think, because my last name is short, and I like to think that I'm related to actually the two Luke Shorts. One was a gunfighter in the Old West, and then the other, it was a Western novelist, both named Luke Short. And I like to pretend that I'm related to both, but I'm probably related to neither. So yeah.
I've got some writers on my dad's side of the family, so it's pretty. I'd love to be able to track down like a typewriter they might have used, but I've never been able
Oh,
to.
that'd be
So
nice.
yeah, I like
Yeah.
to think about them writing on typewriters like these sometimes.
Yeah. Now, dare I ask you how many typewriters you have?
You know, people that know me think I own a lot, but being on these Facebook groups, it makes me feel a little better. I only have 7, which
Okay.
I think it's a fairly small collection. Um, yeah, I mean, I buy them and then restore them, so it slows me down a little bit.
Okay.
I don't want to have a graveyard of broken typewriters. So
Exactly.
I try to maintain them and, you know, restore them
Very cool. Very
to
cool.
working order.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, again, welcome, and it's so
Thanks.
good seeing you.
Yeah, it's good
Thank
to
you
be
for
here.
being a part of this.
Yeah.
Sean, how are you doing?
Excellent. Welcome, Ryan.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, things are good. I'm writing in Old English.
Ah,
I
So
studied some Middle English and Old English.
yeah, well, it's sort of this typewriter. It just came out last night, which I'm sure the story will come out a little later here during this call. We started getting into certain symbols, that can be on typewriters in other languages. I'm writing a short story right now that I'm going to be getting done here pretty quick. That was inspired by Eric Tidd and his daughter, because he was looking for an umlaut typewriter. So I started
oh,
writing a short story, the Zoe and the Umlauts story. And the umlauts have turned into a forest people of sorts. And we were talking about, well, what would be the antagonist in that story? So we decided it would probably have to be another, symbol that you'd find on a weird typewriter. So we went through all of them, and we came up with the interrobang. The interrobangs are the evil arch nemesis of the umlauts. And in an interrobang, if you don't know, is basically a question mark sort of struck over an exclamation mark, giving it a P look with a little dot at the bottom.
yes,
Normally
yes.
typed with an exclamation mark and a question mark side by side, typically, because that's how we type them. So anyway, that spurred a lot of very funny conversation, and I ended up bringing this typewriter out. And so now I don't know what the story is here, but so what it's got is it's got a couple of keys on it. The thorn, or it sort of looks like a P, but with the top part. I don't know if I can show it, but it's where are we here? So the keys right there.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so the one on the top there looks like a P is actually a thorn. And then the one below it is a voiced dental frictive that basically yeah, I've been having to get into languages in order to try to understand all this stuff. Basically, the sound when you say father, it's a voiced dental frictive. So you're putting your tongue up against the back of your teeth and going,
Oh,
father, father. So that's that symbol. So that would be used when you have a, but the other one is sort of a thorn, which is a th, but the other, the other sounds, which I can't recall off the top of my head right now. The reason I thought at first this was an Icelandic typewriter is those two symbols are still used in Icelandic, the only language that uses them now, left in the world. But it's missing the A and the E. You know how the A and the E are sort of squished together there? I don't know what that's
yes.
called. Sorry, I'm not.
Ash, is that what that's called?
Yeah, is it F? Yeah, okay.
I think so.
It's not on this typewriter. And so I thought, well, if this was an Icelandic keyboard, it's QWERTY and it doesn't have the AEF thing. So when I started reading about it, it was like, well, it could be an old English thing because both the thorn and the F keys here were used in that language as well. So I don't really know what the story is. So I've just been making up stories.
I was gonna guess Icelandic too.
Yeah.
Or, maybe
And-
German, but probably Icelandic.
Yeah, it seems Icelandic-ish, but it's missing that AE and
That's
then
weird.
the umlauts, which I think they use a bit of as well. So anyway, it's sort of a bit of a conundrum. I think it was a special order typewriter for sure, because you can see that slug is soldered differently than the other ones on that keyboard. So it's funny that I had this out before I even saw your prompt writing in other languages. So
Yeah.
I've tried writing using sort of the old English, words, which is fun in and of itself. Anyway, yeah, so there you go. It's not very good, but we do what we do.
Excellent. And
Yeah.
I know, I think it was last week. I think you were just starting that short story that you're working on.
Well, it's
And
been a
so,
couple sessions, yeah.
oh, has it? Okay, okay.
Yeah, I
But
was sorry.
you're coming near the end of it now, though.
Yeah, I've decided, well, yeah, so what I was doing was I was dragging butt, and as we were sitting on Type and Talk last night and I was writing, I'm realizing this is just going to go nowhere for like 80 million pages until I have the necessary things in a story, right? You got to have the antagonist, you got to have the conflict, and you got to have the resolution. And the sooner you get to it, the sooner it doesn't become a novel. It was meant to be a little short story, and I'm already on page 7. So the interbangs are the bad guys, and we're going to introduce them here, and Zoe will save the day and everything will be good and the story will end.
Yay.
Hey.
And where can we expect to find this story?
Well, that was part of the discussion last night, as well as fear of writing. So based on what Ryan says, as a writer, he's not obviously as worried. He's gotten over that. He's in practice. I am not. I still live in this world where if you share your stuff, you shall be judged, and generally judged harshly, because that's how we judge ourselves. So I was on the Radio Free Write podcast here a few weeks ago, as a way to get myself out of that fear and share openly with other people that I didn't know a short story, that flash fiction that I wrote. So I'm using the Zoe and the umlaut story now as the next step. So as far as where it's going to be, I don't know. I'm not starting my own blog for this. I might just give it to Eric, and have Eric post it, because it deals with his daughter, which is not weird,
Yeah.
which is not weird and creepy. It's just sort of the way the inspiration came.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Sean, something that might not help you at all, but when you talked about sharing with people, I decided I was gonna, a couple of years ago, I decided, I play music all the time. I decided I was gonna share. I didn't care. I mean, I would share my poetry and everything. And I don't worry about it. But now what I've noticed, people are very nice to me, like always. And what happens is you start to think, I'm not that good. They're lying.
Yeah, well, that's the other part of it. Yeah.
It's yeah. So then you start getting paranoid, and it's like, so I don't know if I'm helping you at all, but you're probably better off sharing, because you can let that go and work on what you want to work on, and kind of let that part go. Well, I'm still going to share it, and then you're going to still get neurotic about what people think, but you just got to keep sharing.
Yeah, no, and that's good advice, and I totally appreciate that feedback, Larry, because that's what I've got to do. And what I said last night was I've got to write as fearlessly as I did when I was young and didn't care. And
Yep.
the real world, quote, air quotes, squishes some of that spirit sometimes and puts us into boxes and pegs. Pegs us into certain holes. And
Only when you're famous. Only when you're famous and you're in the newspapers. But the critics won't, but your friends won't do that. Though your friends will be nice no matter what, and you'll come up doubting. But you got to still do it, because you would want to be out there in the world. And then when the critics are after you, you're like, okay, well, yeah, whatever. If you're doing it for yourself, then that's all that matters. If you're doing it for money, yeah, then the critics are going to matter, because you could lose money because of critics. But if you're doing it for yourself, then
I'm just doing it for myself, but I need to share it more. So
yeah,
whenever I get worried about it, I'll just say, Larry liked it.
that's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now, Sean, have you ever thought of doing like fan fiction, that sort of thing? They have these like forums and stuff. Back in the day they had forums. I assume there's a new place to post fan fiction, but have you thought about delving into that?
I have piles of stories that I used to write. So my big things were, believe it or not, Westerns and Star Trek. Those were what I wrote, almost exclusively when I was young, because I loved Star Trek, and it was just sort of fun to have your own ship and captain and crew and go on the kinds of adventures you wished you saw on the original series in TNG, but never got to see. So that was very inspiring. And I was involved in a lot of that in the early internet days. Yes, I'm getting old. And Westerns, just because, I'm not old enough to have grown up through the 50s and 60s, the heyday of the B Westerns and all this stuff. But what I did watch, in the after hours on weekends, I loved it. I loved the Gunsmoke and Rawhide and all those old shows. So I loved writing, Western stuff as well, just because I loved, man on his own in the middle of nowhere, fighting against bad people and, saving the damsel in distress. I just thought that was medieval brought into a modern 200-year-old world.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah,
I guess go ahead.
No, sorry, go ahead. I was just going to say I want to write that, get back into that.
Yes. I guess my thought is a forum with fan fiction would be a more accepting place. I doubt there would be much in the way of criticism in such a forum.
True.
I could be wrong, but that's my impression, though.
And I get what you're saying now. And to sort of bring that back, Bill and Eric have been working stories back and forth now for a last little bit, and sort of inspiring each other. And I want to get involved in that, because I think that's a great way to do it with other like-minded people, and with a collaborative fiction story of some sort, where somebody brings the inspirational prompt and idea, and then maybe everybody else either contributes to it or writes a part of it, a chapter or whatever have you. And that way you could either see things from different angles, different characters, but all maybe centralizing around the same story, which I just think is super cool. I mean, that kind of collaboration is fun, and it would be fun to explore that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And anything new as far as typewriters? Any new acquisitions or anything out the door?
I sold my Alpina. I had an Alpina SK24 with a German quartz keyboard that I sold to a lady. I've had it for years, bought it locally here, but just never really loved it. I love the Alpina, but it was sort of a basic, boring color, and the quartz always throws me off. You can't be haps when you have a typewriter that alternates the Z and the Y. So you'd get in the zone, and you'd always hit the where the Y is, and it'd be a Z. So I sold that on, which the lady was happy because her father's German and now she'll be able to correspond with him. So, you know, typewriters to the right homes, they fall into the right places. And then I bought a Depression era Monarch Pioneer, which is basically a Remy Scout with no front. You know, it's got no front piece here. It's just like everything hangs out over the front, so it's all dangerous because there's no protection.
Oh yeah.
All that, but the space bar is broken. There's a, I mean, it was a cheap typewriter, right? You know, they cut a lot of corners back in the 1929, 1930. So the space bar mechanism's broken. So I've got it all ripped apart, and I'm going to have to resolder or weld it in some way to get it back together so that I can actually properly space, which is sort of important.
Yeah. Duct tape won't work.
I tried. I did the old JB weld, that just didn't hold. But so I think I'm just going to have to solder now, and hopefully that will hold.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
that's it for new typewriters. Yeah, other than that, just little things. Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, it's so good to see you, Sean.
You as well. Thank you.
Excellent. Oh, Larry has his mouth full. I'll go on to William. William, how are you?
Doing very well. How about yourself there?
Very good. Very good. Yes.
Good. So nothing really new in typewriters, but I have been getting some letters typed out and out the door
Nice.
into the mail, and I see one recipient of a letter I sent. Whether she's got it yet or not, I don't know, but we'll find out. Yeah, I'm still the project of building the shelves from a typewriter is still kind of on hold due to weather concerns.
Yes.
There's still snow on the ground here, and we woke up to minus 22 last Thursday. No, sorry, last Sunday. That's minus 3 degrees Fahrenheit.
Ah.
Yeah. And yeah, that's about it. As once spring gets here, I'll be way more happy because I don't like winter. Not anymore.
Yeah.
Well, come the 22nd, we will have had winter for 5 months.
Wow.
Or there will have been snow on the ground for 5 months.
Wow. Yeah, things are crazy right now. We've had an insane amount of rain. And again, I'm in Southern California, so we get to see much rain. And yet this year, well, basically, we're no longer in a drought. And we've been in a drought as long as I can remember.
For years, yes.
Yeah.
It was kind of interesting. One of the girls at our church was doing some missionary work out in Rwanda, and we're talking to some of the locals about when crops fail, and locals said, "Well, just plant on the crop." And she said, "Well, out where we live, we can't." And so I kind of came to the realization that here we live our lives around winter. And when it could be said that there are 3 seasons: getting ready for winter, surviving winter, and repairing the damage from last winter. So, okay.
Yep.
I'll let other more interesting people have a say.
Oh, well, I'm glad to hear that you're out of your typing slump. I'm trying to get out of one myself. I finally did a blog post over at poortypist.com. So yeah, and I think it was a week ago I did 1 letter and I think 2 postcards. So
yeah,
little by little, I'm.
Yeah. Speaking of blog posts, I got an absolute laugh out of Eric Tidd's cream soda blog post.
Oh, I'll have to check that out. I'm a big fan of cream soda, so you have me intrigued.
Because when I was young, the vehicle we had was an Austin Cambridge that they called estate car. Over here, we'd be called not a Suburban. Had the hatchback and
station wagon,
yes. And how as kids always used to try and get into the very back, behind the back seat and pile up blankets and sit in there so we could look out. Yep. So I know the feeling. Read the blog. It's rather funny.
Definitely. Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Well, it's so good to see you, William.
Yes. Good to see you all too.
Excellent. Let's see. Brian, how are you doing?
I'm good. Nothing too much going on. Co's
Okay.
here.
I see a green typewriter back there.
Oh yeah.
Looks like a Lego typewriter.
No, it may look like one, but it's not.
It kind of did, actually.
And Terry's 145.
Cool.
Ah, okay.
This is the one that I converted from Azerty to QWERTY.
Oh, okay.
So
How
I
many
had
Antares computers, Antares typewriters do you have?
well, this one, I've got a Underwood 18. I've got the Parva, and then I've got a parts machine, which
Oh,
is
okay.
Antares compact. And the type basket and the keys are from the parts machine.
Oh, okay.
So what's left of that is Italian now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I had this around from when I took a picture of it for St. Patrick's Day.
Yes, definitely. Very cool.
Yeah, so with 4 Antares machines, I think I'm the country's leading authority on Antares.
I think so.
Yeah, what's Mary, or no, what's her name? Susan got one after I got one. She had an
Oh,
18, she said last time. So she's sneaking up at number 2.
yeah.
Yeah, nothing too much else.
Okay.
Nice to see y'all.
Yeah, nice to see you too. I do have one.
How's your puppy dog, Brian? I saw your puppy dog. I didn't get to say hi, and I wanted to talk to your puppy
Oh.
dog more than I wanted to
Okay.
talk to you.
Yeah, he's very good.
Oh.
Where's the
Okay.
puppy? Come on. There you are. Hi.
Oh.
Hi
Hi, Coda.
there.
Coda.
You're, what? I forgot his name. What's his name?
Koa.
Koa.
Koa. Koa.
Yes.
Is that the tree in Hawaii? The koa trees?
What's that?
Isn't those trees in Hawaii that are koa trees? Is that
Yeah,
where that name
that's what
comes
it's
from?
named after. That's right.
No, he's named after the campground.
That's
Just kidding, Brian.
He's curly and
That's
brown, which
funny.
is like Koa wood.
Oh,
I guess the other interesting thing I did is I bought this horrible Royal typewriter, a Royal Ultronic, which is like an Empress with electricity,
Ooh.
Oh.
and it's terrible. Ted Monk was on the thread where I was posting it on Facebook, and he said, "That thing's terrible. You're going to hate it." And I do. So he's right. Ted is very justified.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'll bring it over.
You might as well show it because it's
Might
not
as well
good for
share the
much else,
crap.
right? Yeah.
I got it out of its shell right now.
Oh, okay.
It's kind
That
of
way
heavy.
everybody else can avoid buying one.
Yeah. We can learn by your mistake.
It's just, I've just got the shell and the insides, and it's not worth looking at. But
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's everything worked except for the escapement. It wouldn't advance letters on the carriage, but the shift worked and
Okay.
everything. And then I took the shell off it. I turned it upside down and looked at it for a little bit. Put it back on my table, and nothing worked. So I didn't
Yeah.
even do anything to it. I just turned it upside down and turned it back upside up, and everything is whack. So,
Oh,
I don't think I'm going to be able to fix it.
yeah.
But you never know. I think I'm going to leave it in that torn apart state. And if I see Joe Van Cleve come down to Phoenix next week, I might
Lock it in a room
convince
with
or let's say trick him into taking a look at it. So that's my Hail Mary play, is have the luminaries of the typewriter world come over and take a look.
Yes.
And
Yes,
then
that's a good plan.
nothing happens to it, then I'm just going to put it back, give it back to Goodwill or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Take it to my local repair shop for parts.
It'd be kind of funny if you gave it back to Goodwill in the disassembled format.
See, they just throw it out if I did that. It's got to look
Yeah,
like something
they
to
would.
sell it. I've had things that I haven't been able to put back together that I've taken to the electronics recycler.
Oh,
I took a piece of electronics and made it worse and couldn't put it back together, and I just, okay, bye-bye.
okay.
Smelt it down for the precious metals, but I'll
Yeah,
at least put
yeah.
this back together.
Yep.
Yeah, well,
Well,
that's all I'm up to right now.
oh, okay. Hopefully Joe's able to help you out, but if not,
Yeah,
probably not a big loss, right?
it was a learning experience.
Yes, yeah.
Everyone on the thread that I posted said it was really rare. They never see these things. And Richard Polt has one of them, and I guess there's only one or two on the Typewriter database.
Okay.
But that's because they were awful. It was kind of rushed to market. The engineering wasn't done yet.
Oh,
I got the service manual for it, and it's about 2/3 service manual and 2/3 revisions to the previous service manual. There's things that like, okay, tear out page 19 of the manual, paste this page in instead. If the typewriter was before the serial number, it's totally different inside, so we just forget it. Because they knew it was a mess.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, all right, that's all. I'm going to stop talking.
Oh, that's good to see you, Brian, and it's good to see you, Koa. By the way, I don't know how long ago it was now, but within recent memory, you had shared the pictures of Koa when he was a puppy, and I really enjoyed that. Yeah.
You're always cute.
He was born cute.
Yep, he was. It's true.
Excellent. Well, it's so good to see you, Brian.
Well, good to see you too.
Excellent. Diane, welcome back.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Very good, very good. Anything new in your world?
I got more pen pals that I need to respond.
Oh, excellent, excellent.
So
Very
I've just
good.
been busy writing letters.
Yes, yes. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the typewriter that we fixed last week, I say we, the typewriter that you fixed last week is working well?
Yes, it's working nicely.
Excellent.
The shift is definitely a lot lighter. I like adjusted more after the meeting because I still find it a little bit heavy. But
okay.
All here helping people out.
It's good.
Yes.
Although the keys are still a little bit harder for me to press, like the keyboard part. And I found out how to adjust it, but I don't have that wrench, the hexagon wrench tool. Like I know where to adjust it, but I try with my pliers, it won't budge. It's like screwed in really tightly. So now I'm trying to figure out if I can find a tool to loosen it up.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're gonna be in the tool collection phase now. So
yeah, we'll see if I can find one.
Yeah.
I'll just deal with it.
Yep. Excellent. And I know you're pretty new to the hobby, but have you tried typing in a different language?
Yeah, but not on my typewriter, on my keyboard.
Okay.
I'm trilingual, so I speak 3 different languages. There's Mandarin, Taiwanese, and English. So sometimes if I'm like talking to my friends in Taiwan, I will type in like Mandarin, and that's when I'll be using it on my keyboard because the letters is a lot different. We don't spell it out with English letters. We have our own letters.
Yes.
So yeah, I don't think any typewriter was made in like Mandarin language because it's really interesting. So like, you know how English, we have alphabets, right? You use the alphabet to spell the word, and then when you spell it, it's like it's that word. But in Mandarin, we have our own alphabets, but once you spell it, it turns into like an actual character. Because if you spell it with alphabets, it will make you look like you're like elementary school kids. Like it's not professional. So like it's not the same. And yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. I wonder if any of the like electronic typewriters had the capability of making those characters. For example, I have a typewriter that was made in Japan,
Mm.
and you can supposedly form kanji with it. I just can't get it to
Oh.
print because everything on the keyboard is Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't figure out how to get it to print, but it makes Japanese kanji. So
Mm.
I wonder if they have something similar for Mandarin.
I don't think so because it's
No.
like one of the hardest language in the world. Like if you've
Oh,
seen Mandarin like characters, it's like kanji and Mandarin and Chinese. It's pretty much the same. Like I think what was it back in history? Like well, I forgot what country. I think it was China took over Japan, and that's when they were forming their language. That's how they got the kanji. Like they were what's that word I was trying to look for? Impression, like they like borrowed it from Chinese language, so that's how they form the character kanji. So in Japanese there's 3 different type of characters. There's kanji, which is the one from Chinese characters, and then there's hiragana and then katakana. I studied Japanese for like about, I think it was 1/4, so it was like 3 months. I took Japanese,
okay.
so I know a little bit about Japanese, but not that well.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's interesting.
Yeah. Very cool. Yeah. Let's see. So you've been doing letter writing. Any more looking at typewriters? Considering adding more typewriters to your little collection?
I do. However, I'm like currently jobless, so I'm gonna wait
Okay.
till I get a job and then I'll look into getting a new typewriter. But I do have one in mind, is Princess 300. So I'm still like trying to find one because a lot of them come in quartz, and I just really want a QWERTY one. I've seen QWERTY ones in the market, but like there's this one
Okay.
on Etsy was like $900 something, and then it went on sale just for 700. I'm like, yeah, that's still overpriced. I can't.
Yeah, definitely.
I heard it's like the best portable typewriter out there. Like
Hmm.
because of the like it's made to be portable, but because of how much technology they have in there, it feels like a full-size typewriter. And
It's
that's what
it's
draws
pretty
my
awesome.
attention. Yeah.
Their princesses are really nice, but I've just, the Groma Calibri is better than that.
The what?
The Groma Calibri.
Oh, I
It's
never heard of that one.
Yeah, it's an East German typewriter, and you might think East German typewriters are sort of like tractors. And generally you'd be right, but this one is super amazing. So I've got the Princess and I love it. It types so well and it's such a neat typewriter.
Which one, the 200 or 300?
Yeah, the colored one. So is that a 300? Yeah.
Yeah, that will be the 200 also come in a color. It's just the 200 doesn't have tabs. You can't set
Okay, yeah, no,
tabs.
this is a 300. This is one of the
Okay.
ones. But yeah, no, they're like push button ribbon color select.
Yeah,
Like
that
that's
was really unique on the
super
typewriter. I've
unique.
never seen one that does it.
Yeah, so it's really nice, but yeah, the Groma Calibri is smaller, flatter,
Wow.
and just really types like a big typewriter, which is nice. But you know what? To each their own. You need both, basically, I think.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Oh,
There's a
I
cat fight
see.
going on right now.
Oh,
Oh yeah. I think they're just playing. Yeah, I don't see many princess typewriters like out in well, like
yeah.
on
In the
Shop
wild.
Goodwill and eBay and stuff like that. I don't see a whole lot.
Yeah, they're very rare, which makes me sad because it's like when I do see one, it's mostly on Etsy and it's overpriced. Even
Yeah.
stores, I don't know any stores that carry. At least the one near me, they don't have. They only have like the popular ones.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, it is so good to see you again, Diane.
Thank you. Oh, I do have a question though. So
Oh yes, of course.
for those people who work on typewriters, do you lube your type bars with like I heard some people use it with gun oil, but then I asked around, they said don't use anything that has oil in it because it collects dust, and over time it will create like it will gunk up in like the type bars, and then it will be harder to clean later on. So they recommended to use something like what's it called? The alcohol. It's like pure
99%.
alcohol. to, like-
99% alcohol in the segment. Keep 99% alcohol
Yeah.
in the segment where the type bars swing up.
Yeah.
Never put oil in there of any kind.
the no-
It'll gum up. And that's just bad news. You want those free and clear.
Yeah, because I
Well-
noticed my Olympia that got serviced by the shop, I think they use oil because I touched it and it's kind of greasy. And then I have
Well-
cats in the house, so it just attracts cat hair.
There are two schools. There are two schools of thought when it comes to oiling the segment.
Uh-huh.
One is you.
That is
Oh,
all.
Gamsol? That's for oil painting.
Yeah,
That's right. Use that.
one,
I use that on the segment to clean. That's the mineral spirits.
yes.
With a brush.
Okay, I know that brand.
And then I use this for the, I'll go off in a minute, but these two products I love, and I never use oil. Well, I
So-
do have some gun oil, but I only use it in different parts like the railings. I don't ever use it on the segment.
Wait, let me take a picture. Thank you.
So he's even smiling for you.
That's cute. Thank you.
You're welcome.
As I say,
This one you can only get online.
Oh, yeah, I know the other one I can go to like an art
Yeah.
store.
And this is recommended by Dwayne Jensen. So
Oh,
you know. he's the man. Yeah, one of the men.
The man.
One of the typewriter men of the man world.
but they also say you don't have to, you practically don't need to lube it often, like or
That's
ever.
right.
It's
Yeah,
sticky.
Oil is, stay away from the oil. No
Mm.
need. Mhm.
So you
Well-
only apply it when the key is sticking, right? Like you wouldn't just do it like a regular thing.
there are two schools of thought when it comes to lubricating the segment.
Mhm.
One is get it absolutely clean dry and leave it clean dry. The other is if you do oil it regularly enough so the new oil flushes out the old oil and any dirt that may have accumulated.
Oh.
In the professional typing pools and the newspaper offices where they were typing 8 hours a day, those type segments would get oiled regularly to keep the dirt flushed out.
Mm.
Whereas the home portable one does not get used nearly enough to warrant that kind of heavy servicing. So the best thing is to get it clean and dry and leave it clean and dry for the home portable ones.
And if you put anything in there, blow it out. Blow it out with some
Like,
compressed
I have
air
like air
or
can.
something like this.
Yeah.
Canned air is fine if for a newbie. And then get one of these, yeah.
Thank you guys.
And if I've used they have a synthetic oil called liquid bearings that you can find that's like a 0 weight, I think, or something so thin. It's very, very thin synthetic oil, and it doesn't gum up ever, and it doesn't really stay on either. It flows really well and penetrates, but it also will like fall off and keep dripping on your desk or whatever if you use much on it. But the great thing about it is if it's bone dry because you've cleaned it so well, and it's not perfect metal anymore because of the coatings are missing and there's some corrosion, it might squeak or be, whatever, maybe not sticking, but maybe noisy or something. And that liquid bearing fluid, it does lubricate very well. It just doesn't stay on the parts very well. It flows very well, though.
Yeah, I usually clean the segment and leave it, but I had that underwood ace I had in Evapor Rust. It was everything was rusted on that thing. I got everything cleaned out, and the rust was gone, but the surfaces were still pitted. So after I cleaned the segment on, it was still grungy. So I lubricated it a little bit. I used some sewing machine oil and just cleaned off the segment with a towel afterwards. So it was just a little bit in there. I put sewing machine oil on a paintbrush and dabbed it through the segment, and then cleaned the top of the segment off.
And most sewing machine oils that I've seen will gum up after a while, but there's probably synthetic ones now too that won't. That's one of the things is the oil the solvent in the oil eventually evaporates, and then what's left is whatever the base of the oil was, which is very gummy. So anyway, I'm not trying to criticize what you said. I just wanted to point out that some might be better than others too.
Oh, yeah.
Some
Somewhat controversial subject.
Yeah, it is. It is.
So
Absolutely.
what would
I think
you,
Brian's right. Very controversial subject. I mean, if your type bars are sticking, it's not because it needs oil. It's because there's probably a teeny tiny speck of dust or dirt or grime in there that needs to be cleaned out. Because once you clean a machine thoroughly, it will work. Unless there's some sort of bent linkage or something. It's not about oil. And I think that's a great misunderstanding people have. Oil helps in certain very specific locations, but no, it's really about cleaning.
Very well put, Sarah.
I don't think anybody would disagree with that, because you're absolutely right. When it's new, it's going to work great, and doesn't need to be any oil in it at all in the segment.
so then what would you guys recommend to like remove the oil, like the lubrication that I have on my Olympia then? Like, would I just use rubbing alcohol?
Aliphatic naphtha to me but if you can find aliphatic naphtha, the pH thing that Sean was talking about. But anyway,
I mean, it's naphtha, like Larry's saying, and oil. I'm sorry, Gamsol or mineral spirits. Any of those solvents are going to help you with it.
Lighter fluids.
Lighter fluid, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Smelly naphtha. Yeah.
If you have access to an automotive parts store,
Mhm.
you can get a spray can or aerosol can of what's called brake cleaner or carburetor cleaner that comes with a long red straw. You can then get exactly where you need it. But make sure that when you do that, you put the typewriter on what a lot of people like to use is called a puppy pad, so that anything that drips down is then soaked into the pad and doesn't damage your table or your desk or whatever. It does smell. It does take a little while to evaporate. So if you can do it out on the balcony, that's the best.
And buy the low odor stuff to save yourself a little bit too.
Wear
the low
goggles. Definitely wear goggles,
okay.
because that stuff's bad news if it gets in you can't get it in your eyes. That would be terrible. Some of that stuff's really bad, like the carburetor cleaner, like he's talking about. Your eye would disappear if it got in your eye.
Oh man.
And the other thing to be aware about carburetor cleaner, excuse me, is that it is a cocktail of solvents designed to dissolve petrochemical and hydrocarbon deposits.
i.e.
And your injection molded keys are made of a petrochemical base plastic. If you get carburetor cleaner on those, it will dissolve them.
That's gonna dissolve, yeah.
So always make sure that you put a towel over your keys and anything else plastic and unpainted before you start using carburetor cleaner.
Yeah, alcohol is a good way. It's not the best solvent for oil, but it usually doesn't hurt plastic.
Isopropyl denatured alcohol is probably the best.
That's
Metal hydrate is not quite as good at dissolving oil, but it does dissolve more organic stuff as opposed to mineral stuff.
That's what I was thinking, because I'm pretty clumsy and I don't want to risk damaging the keys or anything, since it's my first time.
If you have access to compressed air,
I do.
a nice way. Well, then that's great, because if you have a Venturi gun that you can hook up to an air hose, and you can siphon anything like lighter fluid or whatever, and it'll mix it with air and atomize it, and then you don't have this straight stream, and you can reach. It will flush everything out really well, because you have all that air behind it, so it works really well.
Atomized solvent's a good way to blow yourself up too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Diane.
Or do any open flames or anything, then the whole neighborhood will know you're cleaning things.
Diane,
Probably the safe thing is compressed air and alcohol. It's probably the least likely to destroy things.
Diane, do you have a husband or a boyfriend?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, perfect. So just use him for hot air until you can get an actual compressor.
Okay.
At least he didn't go the direction I thought he was going to go, which is like have your boyfriend clean it for you.
Or that too. That's even
No,
harder,
he didn't.
You can do it yourself.
That. He
Yeah.
doesn't know anything.
But Brian's right. Don't blow yourself up.
Yeah. Okay.
Sarah, Paolo on YouTube is wondering what the brand model of the air blower is.
Oh, this is Amazon cheap, crazy Chinese brand. I don't know what brand this is, to tell you the truth. Oh, it's Cacnon. It sounds like
Non.
Ragnar or something. It sounds like something from, you know.
Yeah.
It's I got this for like $39.99 or something, you know.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
So it's, you know, I plug it in, it works great.
Oh wow, yeah.
Sounds powerful.
And it's not too strong. It doesn't blow everything sky high. But the other thing to know is if you are going to be blowing stuff in your machine, put something under it. Make sure you don't have any loose springs, because if you lose those springs, you cry big tears.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. When I was a newbie, I started out with like using a hose in the backyard, and I blew some springs, you know, and never found them again. And I was really sad about it. So be careful. That's, yeah.
Excellent. Excellent.
A lot of things you learn when you first start out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, again, it's good seeing you again, Diane.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's see. Oh, I was going to talk to Larry because earlier he was eating and now he's gone. So
Larry doesn't want to be talked to.
I guess.
Oh, Larry's back. You want to talk to Larry?
Oh, Larry's back. All right.
I'm in my
Thank you for
garage. So
yeah. Yeah. Hey, thank you for sporting the Tight Pal shirt, by the way.
this is the official Tight Pal shirt.
Yes.
And you can buy one from tightpals.com.
Yes.
Too. I change it once in a while, so I have another colored one too.
Oh, well, that's good. That's good.
But I wear it every single day. So, you know,
I know. But how are you, Larry?
Great. Thank you.
Excellent. You had a good salad?
Yes. Those are the best salads. They're called Larry's salad. That's the name of the salad, actually. So at the restaurant, they named it Larry's salad because it's a special salad just for me.
Oh, wow. That's funny. Yeah.
There's no meat in them. It's all just good stuff. So yeah. I mean, some people think meat's good anyway, so whatever. So
Wanna go
Anyway,
where everybody knows your salad.
you know, I just sang that song Friday night at I sang it for St. Patrick's Day, and then Friday night I had a gig, and so I did it for them too. And it was at the Coast Guard base, and that's what I love about the Coast Guard is it's a small service, and everybody knows your name. You know, everybody in Coast Guard AV pretty much knows each other, so it was fun. We had a blast. But,
nice.
So I got tomorrow I got to go I got to meet somebody and pick up a Brother Correctable typewriter. And the crazy thing about it is I have one right here in front of me, and I bought it for $14.99 from the Salvation Army, and it didn't have a cord, but it has a ribbon in it, a carbon ribbon. And so I got a cord to work, and it works. And I went and looked up ribbons, and there are no ribbons unless you buy like $500, you know, a ribbon from Germany. Somebody wants to sell theirs for $500, you know. So anyway, I can't find a ribbon for this particular one. I thought, well, maybe I can, you know, break the cartridge open and put a new ribbon in when it runs out. And I'm not going to do it before it runs out because I want it to work as long as possible. Well, now this place that I have my typewriter over Valentine's Day for that type in, some lady knew that I was there and they gave me her number and said to call her that she had a typewriter she'd like to sell you. And so I thought, well, I want to know what it is. So it's a correctable, and she wants to sell it for $50. And I'm like, I just bought one for $14.99, you know, and I can't even get ribbons for it. She goes, well, it comes with 3 ribbons. And I'm like, two new ribbons and one's in it. And she goes, it has a script type ball in it, which you can't get for the brother either. You can't get the balls because they don't work. This electric balls won't work in it. She says it's got a script, and she goes, I got another ball laying around here. I bought it brand new. It's been in my closet for years. And I'm like, well, you know, how about $40? And she's like, no, I want $50. And I'm like, well, you know, and I told her about, you know, this one and more. And I'm like, anyway, she wouldn't go lower. And then I said, well, you know, I can't do that, I guess. So I got off the phone, and like within 5 minutes, I called her back and I said, okay, I'll do that. Because I'm a sucker. But you know, it's not worth $50 if you look at it as far as you're going to have a difficult time with it. And I mean, if it works, I like it. It's excellent to type on, but it's not, as a collector, it's not worth $50. But it's got 3 ribbons, and that's like, oh my gosh, I'll be able to type a long time with 2 brand new ribbons and 2 ones that I don't know the status of actually, but anyway. And then it's got a strip ball in it, which is cool, and I have a pica one in this one. And so anyway, it'll keep me playing for longer with it anyway.
Yes.
So
Yeah, those ribbons are like gold.
I know, you know, or I could put them on for, you know, $499.99 instead of $500. I don't think I'll do that. I just want to have a typewriter. And you know what I really like is I only have 2 correcting typewriters. I have an IBM Wheelwriter 6 that corrects. My selector is not a corrector, and now my correctable's correcting, and it just, I don't know. I hate making mistakes. I don't know why. But I'm just weird about it. Like, it's not so much that I made a mistake. Oh my God. It's more like, oh, what will people, so I'm a bit of Sean, you know, what will people think? You know, like they don't even worry about it, you know, really. It's like something get mad at, you know, somebody get mad when you're driving down the road. How often, you know, they don't keep you in their mind for more than 1 minute, and then they're on the next guy yelling at them, you know. So it's like we over worry stupid stuff. But yeah, that's one of my things is like, oh, I would have to exit out or try to erase it, and it's like, wow, the correction is just so cool. You just hit correct that. Wow, good. Can't even tell you messed up. And especially on these typewriters with the carbon ribbons. So I love that idea. And then you did this postcard exchange, and it's the first time I've sent 2 postcards out now because I got 2 postcards, and I'm like, wow, that worked really well. And then I ended up typing Ted Monk because because of something. What was it? I can't remember I wanted his CD. And so I typed him a letter. And so now because I didn't realize this is what was happening, but he's in the future. And so I'm actually getting letters from the future now, and I have to write 8 of them by the end of the year. And I can't tell you why, because it's kind of serious stuff. But anyway, so but the thing is I haven't typed this much in, oh my God, I don't think I've ever typed this much. But I remember when I was a kid, I used to write letters, but I've never typed letters as much as I'm typing now, because I've been typing back and forth to Ted. I got to type one today to him because I got to get it out tomorrow because I got this one yesterday. So, but it's
corresponding
really,
to Ted is a big commitment.
It is.
Well, and
Yeah,
with Ted,
I'm
it's
glad I've
like,
never gotten stuck doing that.
I just found out it's how important this is. Ted made me realize that this, you know, that there's a lot riding on my shoulders now. So now I really have to do this. So it's like, wow, I never knew. But anyway, he's the guru and pointed it out to me. And so now, but I'm really happy because when I write a song or write a poem, when I do, and it's not like every second I do, and I can't force it, but when I feel like it, or when I'm inspired by what one of you say or what somebody says, then I just like get in a zone, and I just feel great because that's all I think about. And I can do it for hours and not even realize hours went by. Well, that's what's happened with Ted, it's like, I'll read his letter, like, oh my God, I gotta, and then I just start typing, and because it's like, wow, I love using my imagination. That because I don't have anything else.
Oh,
So it makes me feel good to like be able to think and use my brain. I mean, I'm retired, so I look for things to do. I don't want a job where I have to work for somebody, but I love when I'm inspired, and he's inspired me. So I really appreciate
cool.
that. Because of Typewriter Club Live, I have something else I'm really enjoying now.
oh, that's good to hear.
I'm just going to speak quickly to making mistakes. When typewriters were the mainstay of the office, and professionally trained secretaries and I forget the other term. Professional was expected of them from the typewriters. Now that the computer program has taken care of autocorrect, grammar, spell check, all that sort of stuff, typewriters have now become the domain of the hobbyist, the journal keeper, and people who just like writing letters and keeping in touch. I feel that it behooves us all to afford ourselves a little bit of forgiveness for our own typing and afford others forgiveness for their typing. The way that I look at it is when I find an error in somebody else's letter, I see that as being the genuineness and authenticity of the handwritten or hand-typed letter, as opposed to some sterile computer-generated document free of personality and inspiration.
Exactly.
That's me.
ChatGPT doesn't make nearly as many typos as I do.
Yep, definitely.
And you're right about it. I mean, people don't even really worry about stuff like that. I just did a song in church today, and after I was done, the other guy said it went really well, and I said, I messed up a couple words, and he goes, nobody even knew that. They can't. He goes, it's not written in their bulletin. They're here just hearing your words, and they don't know you messed up. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but it's like weird. It's like the worst I ever did the song, I thought, and it's like, wow, we were doing it so great, and then I flubbed it a little bit. Nobody notices. And just like you say, when you type it yourself, you should forgive yourself, and you should not so much worry. They're not even going to worry about it either. You're right. It's just that it's a neurotic thing, that's a lot of, I don't know, a lot of people.
Totally. I told my mom, yeah.
The other word I was looking for was administrative assistant. There you go.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. What were you saying, Sarah?
Oh, just that when I first got into typewriters and I gave my mom her first one in many years, I said, we embrace our mistakes. With a typewriter, we will embrace our mistakes. We'll stop having that self-critical internal monologue that's driving us bonkers. We just let go of it and we keep going. We keep going. You make a mistake, cross it out, whatever. If you want to, start over again, but don't let, this is a healing for you in a way that typing is going to help heal you from your self-criticism. It's going to be a good thing. And so
it's a good thing. Yeah. Joe Van Cleef said, underline it in red. That's what he's been doing lately.
Boom. 100% Joe Van Cleef.
Yep.
It's like, here's my mistake. Look at it.
Larry, you could follow Tom Hanks' lead. He averages about one typo per sentence, I think.
He does, and
it's endearing,
Yeah.
Is that why we like him? I guess it is. He seems like a normal human being, doesn't he? Yeah,
definitely.
He's the patron saint of typewriters.
Yes.
that's
Excellent.
right.
Well, it's so good to see you, Larry.
Thanks. You guys too.
Yeah. Diane Mayer. Are you hiding? There you are.
Waiting for her to walk away to call her name.
How are you, Diane?
You're
You're
muted.
muted.
I know. That's why I said I'm muted.
Oh, okay.
I'm well today. Thank you.
Very good.
put on my typing, my typing shirt.
Yes.
Yeah. Who's wearing
Awesome.
typewriter shirts today? Oh, I like yours.
Yeah.
Sarah.
Thank you. Oh, nice. I like that. Great. And Diane, you've got the SG1, is that right?
Yeah.
That's what I
Nice.
thought I saw. Yep.
Very cool. That was your reward, right, for winning the typing contest?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was it? Ancient, antique, difficult category.
Oh man.
That sounds like a descriptor for me.
Oh.
I don't think you're difficult.
Ooh.
No.
We don't know each other that well, Brian.
But a bump.
Oh. Anything new as far as typewriters, Diane?
Actually, there's two, but one's over at the shop, so you can only see the
Oh.
one.
Okay. One is better than none.
I don't go in for lifting the typewriter, darn it.
Oh, that's fine.
We can see it fine.
The other one is actually an electric kind of version of this.
Ah.
But it had some stuff going on the inside. It's like, yeah, I tried to see if I could fix the little thing in the front. Well, bad move. It was working fine, then the space bar stopped working. So it's like, just stop, put it back together, and let the pro do it.
Is that a Galaxy or what is that?
This one's a Galaxy 12.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Just a 12? It
Well,
looks like it has an extra
on it. What?
It looks like it has an extra wide carriage on it, like extra wide.
I don't know. I think I have another one like this. So
You don't have to lift it. That's okay. Just from the camera angle, it looked like it had about a 20-inch platen on it or something.
Oh,
But
it's off to one side.
it does not.
It's an optical illusion.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It did look like that though. Yeah.
No, I don't have anything 20 inches wide. I'm sorry. 16 or 18 is my limit,
Big.
Yeah.
And have you been able to type on that one? Is it typing well or it needs work?
No, I typed a type sample.
Nice. Let me zoom back in on you.
I actually the date code was actually legible on this one, so I included it
Nice.
in the typewriter database.
Very
Of course,
good.
one of my cats decided to walk across it, and I don't remember which entry, if it was this one or the other one. I had a cat walk across right when I was entering that date code, and he hit submit, and it's like the date code was in there, but the serial number wasn't. It's like, seriously?
Do you know what the date code means? Do you know what year it is?
The serial number, I think, puts it in 1974. The date code is just something that Ted wants on, or I shouldn't say he there's a spot for it on his site, on the typewriter database for the date codes. It's I'm trying to think, it's at the bottom of one of the pages or other.
Okay.
Might be at the bottom of the Smith Corona serial number list. But anyway, yeah, there's these date codes and what that means. Making sure I don't have the paper support up. That would kind of stink.
Yeah, actually. Well, looks like we got another Galaxy down there. Is that what?
Sorry, I lost. I unplugged the external hard drive. The screen went blank. I'm like, seriously? So by date code, it's this little sticker here on the side, that may or may not be present on Smith Coronas of this era of, anyway. You don't see it on the 5 series, but you might on the 6 series or later.
So that might tell the month and day, I guess, by his character.
Well, apparently, I think what the deal is that there's no accurate serial number information past a certain point, and Ted's trying to remedy that by collecting these date codes.
Oh.
And sorry, Ted, if I'm telling it absolutely wrong, I don't mean to.
Woz, you've got a Galaxy there, don't you?
I'm sorry.
I do. It's not a 12 though.
Oh, just a Galaxy.
Okay. Yeah.
Just a Galaxy, plain Jane.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know if those have the sticker on the bottom or not. I know that I have my Coronomatic. It does it has part of a stick. It has the sticker on it, but it's not totally legible.
Oh.
Yeah, I just looked at.
Yeah,
the
so
bottom
it's
line,
like I can only guess because it's not totally legible.
I just looked at the bottom of my 120. What's it called? I forget the name of it. My 6 series electric, and it doesn't have one.
Oh, okay.
It's got a little adjustment wheel on the bottom of it, though. I don't know what that's for.
Yeah, I think that would be maybe. Well, no, not on this one. I know it is on my 5 series. There's one right here, but yeah, I don't know. But anyway, the date code is it might be stamped on the body for for whatever reason, but it's something that check out the typewriter database under Smith. I don't know if it's under Smith Corona or what. Let me look here real fast. Screwball computer. I've been having computer problems all day long today.
Daniel Burgoyne says bottom rotating wheel on SCM electrics is for touch pressure adjustment.
Thank you.
Excellent. Yeah, thanks, Daniel.
Oh, okay. On the typewriter database, there's on the top menu when you're on your page, there's a thing that's a drop-down menu. It says missions, and the top item there's Operation SCM date code.
Oh yes,
and that's what I'm thinking of.
Okay.
And it says collect Smith Corona factory date codes and serial numbers from 1960 to 1980s Smith Corona typewriters. The goal will be to collect 250 or more SCM serial number and date code combinations so that the date code can be deciphered and an age list for machines in this age range can be created. So that's what it says.
Okay.
Do you have a change of type key on yours?
There's 2.
Oh, good.
Not that I've ever actually done that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a little spring clip holding the slug on. You just take it off
Yeah.
and pop the key off.
I just don't have anything to
nothing.
replace it with,
Yeah,
and one's on the 1 exclamation point key, and the other one's on the plus equals key.
Yeah. You can find them on eBay though. You'll find them, and I like my exclamation point, but the plus equals.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't ever miss it.
No.
No,
Yeah.
it's actually fine.
That's
It
good.
has power space. The other one, the electric one, actually has. It does not have power return, although I saw one. I saw one yesterday or the day before. I saw one yesterday or the day before that online that it has the power return, but it has a normal ribbon as opposed to the cartridge ribbon, which is the one I have. And I'm like, I don't need this, but it's not a bad price and it's local. And it's like, crap.
Somebody made and I saw it on the web for a while and then I didn't see it anymore and I haven't looked for a while. But I've had 3 Galaxies. I gave 2 of them away recently. But they and I have those ribbons too, but they made a kit so you could change over to a standard ribbon instead of using the carbon ribbon or actually I have some replacement ones that are actually inked ribbons, but they're in that cartridge still. And so you could, and I've seen where people have taken them apart and used them over, but I have a cartridge if you need a cartridge too. So.
Well, the local shop still sells the cartridges, but I just I go through a cartridge pretty quick.
That means you're using. I mean, it's a great machine to type on. It's absolutely. I like the power space, not because it's useful, but because it's fun and kids love it too. It just looks cool.
Yeah, I currently have I actually have one of my Galaxies on loan to a friend of mine at the St. Louis Public Library, and it's like her father just passed away, so I have not collected it back from her yet, and it's fine. I know where it is. Yeah, it's a black and white Galaxy. I can't say I've used it a whole lot because I really haven't, but it's cool. Every time I open up, it's like, oh, how cool this is. I'm just reminded of how cool it is that it's black and white, because you don't, you get to the 60s, you don't. There went my phone.
You don't need your phone.
It's a great typewriter to type on.
Oh, I'm trying to. I've got a few chips in the little glass thing, that the glass cover of the screen, but I think it's only the glass cover. I don't think it's the screen itself.
Oh, okay.
Hope not, but that's why I put the glass cover on it. It's like, this is supposed to protect the screen,
Yes. And anything else typewriter related with you?
I know I had a Remington, but I think that was something my next door neighbor got for me. I don't think I have anything else recent. So
okay.
Yeah, these were within the last week.
Yeah. Very cool. All right. Well, it's so good to see you, Diane.
Yeah, you too.
Sarah, it's been a while.
Hi, Gregory. Hi, everybody. Hello, my friends. Sorry, I know I interrupted a lot earlier, so you probably feel like you've already talked to me.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
So excited. Get so excited on Typewriter Club Live. Oh my gosh. Can't contain myself. Yeah, it's really funny because I have a very introverted life and very quiet job, so that's probably part of it. So I'm going to remove the Bob Marshall typewriter cloth from a machine that I've been working on. I've been actually picking up cleaning jobs for people lately. This is a Halden.
Oh, nice.
And take a look at it says hoofed letters. I don't know if you can see that. And Vaststeller.
Oh, okay.
You see, I don't know if it's possible to see, but there's some different things about this machine that make it unique.
Yeah.
Sorry, I need to do my nails. My nails are always, messed up because I work hard with my hands. So I had a situation where I was cleaning this machine and I opened up the case just to do an evaluation. Literally the second I barely touched the ribbon vibrator and this little teeny tiny piece came off.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
It's the, oopsie daisy. I'll see if I can show you guys again. You look very, I don't want to hurt this machine because this does not belong to me. This is a customer machine. You can see the problem on the ribbon vibrator. It has one bracket.
Yeah.
No.
So what happened is that he's got a guy who replaced the platen, and after I discussed it with him, I said, "Oh my gosh, I tried to fix this with JB Weld, and it was a no-go." He said, "Well, actually, I think that the guy that did the platen might have bent it, and it was just hanging by a thread." And he said that those break really easily. And I said, it was the weirdest thing I've ever experienced in evaluating a machine, because I literally just, I mean, I didn't even put any pressure on it. I just touched the vibrator like barely, and the piece came right off. So I did some research. I talked to my friend Tom in Canada, and he said, don't use glue. Don't you dare use, what is that stuff? Super glue, because it will not work. But try JB Weld. Well, I was scared of JB Weld, so I got some anyway, because I knew that that was the right solution, and mixed it up last night and tried to connect it. And I was using super fine tweezers, but I just don't have the best coordination. And even as carefully as I was like rigging it up and everything, I couldn't get it to attach. And then it like boing went off into the typewriter, and I couldn't get it, and I had to take the base off all over again, and I had to shake it, and I was thinking, oh, please let it not be, you know, stuck to some piece somewhere. And it finally came out. I was sweating bullets, but anyway, I got the piece, put it in a little baggie, and I said, I cannot fix this. I do not have the skills to be a typewriter surgeon in this, you know, in this vein. So the guy was super nice about it. I finished cleaning the machine, loaded a new ribbon. And what's interesting is that once the new ribbon was loaded, the quality of the type and the ability to type without having any issues with the vibrator kind of went away. It was okay after all. With the old ribbon, because it was loose and slack, it seems like the vibrator was kind of going side to side. But once I put that new one in and loaded everything correctly, it was fine. And so I was able to get a really nice typeface sample, which I always do for people, you know, and it looks great. I don't know if you can see, but
New platens are dreamy.
aren't they though? I know, I love me a new platen, and I love the smell of it. Oh my
Oh
gosh.
yeah. Puffing rubber.
Whew. Anyway, so there's that. That's one thing. I'm going to try to be as efficient as possible. I have one other machine to show.
Oh,
And I got
cool.
2 letters from people, and I also have a typewriter pop-up card. So I'll be real quick here.
Nice.
So this one, I got this locally. Yeah, we were talking about the Grumma Colibri. So this is the big brother, big sister of the Grumma Colibri.
That's a sexy.
I like that one.
Yeah.
Take a look here at the back very carefully. You guys see that?
Yes, USSR occupied.
Right. So what's interesting about this, so the seller didn't know anything about that. Well, I did a little bit of a deep dive. So they didn't always stamp that. There was a time period where, even though it was USSR occupied, they would never have put that on the back. They would say something else. In 1957, the year of this typewriter, it's the year that Sputnik was launched. And that was sort of a time when there was a little bit of, as I understand it, and I'm not a history buff to the point that I know what I'm talking about really, but there was some sort of idea of harmony or maybe peacemaking between the United States and Russia during that time. Or maybe it was even like just the competition, the space race and all of that. So I think that during that year, and maybe 1956, because I've found a few typewriters on the database that have USSR occupied stamped on the back, that they were feeling like it was okay to say that, even maybe that it was desirable. But if you look, so here's the thing, I looked at the Grumma Colibri of 1957. This Grumma Model N is also 1957, the last year of production of the Model N. Looks like I'm bouncing here. And Joe Van Cleve has the baby sister or brother of this machine. He has the Grumma Colibri from 1957, and on the back, it has the USSR occupied. I found very interesting. So I went back, looked at his video, and he recognizes it on there, or he notes it. It's actually, I think it belongs to his friend Kevin. But when you look through the database to try to find other Grumma Colibris from this era, 1955, you'll find a few of them that have the stamp on the back, only in this color scheme, not the red, not the bright green, but kind of this soft gray color. If you look at 1957, you'll find them. 1958, I didn't find any. So I'm kind of on this interesting, weird little, you know, treasure hunt to figure out the history of all of this. And what else? Well, I guess, oh, it was distributed by the Neckermann company. So Neckermann in Germany was this like, kind of like Montgomery Ward's catalog type thing. And for years and years, I think it went out of business in the 90s or early 2000s, maybe late 90s. But you could order a Groma Colibri, you could order a Groma Model N, Model T, etc. But here's something even weirder. They also made tube radios and other kinds of things.
Mhm.
I thought Brian would like this.
They made test equipment for a long time, scientific stuff.
Right. And they had, not only did they have the Neckermann Brilliant, which is the Groma Colibri kind of clone, right? But Neckermann also made a Brilliant radio. So they had these sort of sub-names that we think of, you know, the Brilliant, I can't think of all the names. There's a Combina, I think was the next version. But all of that stuff, if you look in the Neckermann catalog, you'll see from 1956 that they had radios with those same subtitle names. So this was sort of their little branding scheme. I just found that really interesting. So yeah, which goes back to the Princess. Princess is a great machine, but I found it a little heavy. I have a 300, I love it, and I put a new platen on it, but it has weird issues with the feet. Another story for another time. I agree with Sean about the Gromas. I love Gromas personally. I think they're great machines. But also I have to give some love to the Olympia, the Splendid series, because those really are fantastic portables. So.
Where's Eric Tidd when you need him to support that comment?
Yeah.
The Groma Model N before that one, the one with the spool covers that kind of are baked into the lid.
Yes.
I think that's the most beautiful typewriter ever. If I ever see one of those, I would actually spend big money on that. But you never see them.
Agreed.
Yours is really pretty too. The curve on the side of the ribbon cover is really cool.
Thank you.
I'll reach out to you afterwards, Brian. See how much money I can part.
Okay.
Yeah, I love that. So I got a really nice letter from William, and I need to take time to respond. So please be patient with me. But I love it. It's wonderful. And your description of winter in Canada, everything I'm hearing about Canada lately just makes me sad. I would never want to live there. It sounds terrible, but I'm glad that you can survive it. And I like what you said about the 3 seasons of basically preparing for winter, you know, enduring it, and then recovering, or maybe it was 4 seasons, the cleaning up from the previous year.
Repairing the damage.
Yeah. So I'm good friends with Tom Chalowski in Canada, and he tells me the same sad tales about how miserable it is there.
Oh, it's not that bad.
Just awful, awful place to live. It's so cold, so miserable. I got a great little message from Kate Crow, which I also have to respond to. I don't even actually know who Kate Crow is, but I believe she's part of our club.
Yes, she is.
She sent me a really wonderful, nice letter on the IBM Selectric. Okay, I'm going to go really fast here. I don't know if you guys have seen this yet, but you can get these on Amazon.
Cool.
That is awesome.
Yeah. They also did a Valentine's I Love You card that was really beautiful, really quite stunning. And then the last thing I have to share is my stickers that I recently got.
Yay.
I actually have this one on the back of my Volkswagen Golf. All right.
Nice.
That's all, folks. Love you guys.
Yabba dabba do.
Yabba dabba do.
Well, it is so good seeing you again, Sarah.
Good seeing you too.
Oh, you know, I was thinking about that. It says USSR occupied. Yeah. Now, that you would think that would be, since it was written in English, you'd think that that would be like for export or something, and they had a reason to write it. Maybe the people they exported to wanted it written that way, or maybe they thought it was
Yes.
an in-your-face thing. I don't know. but
100, no, 100%. Yeah, agreed. I believe that this was intended for US import. It says USSR occupied Germany, and this would have been East Germany. And there were some factories that were still in existence. There was a time period where USSR was, occupying Germany, and it would have been Russia, or they would have, if you said Russia, then people from the United States would have gotten sort of offended by it, So they were kind of changing how they phrased it. But yeah, I think there's still a lot for me to learn about it. And most of what I kind of figured out was from talking to my friend Tom about this, and he kind of helped me understand the history, because he really understands that way better than I do. But then it kind of made me go, okay, why this 1 year? Because he was like, is that for real? Is that really? Because that doesn't make sense. The timing, it would have been earlier. He felt like it was really strange for it to suddenly pop up in 1957. And they said, wait a second, Sputnik, and it kind of went down that path.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So there's like
Very
this
cool.
temporary goodwill with USSR, but then not.
Hey, Sarah, why don't you
I
look
think
up
it
when McCarthy was doing his thing in the US looking for communists? I bet you will find out that that's actually probably one of the drivers, was the increased fear of communism and its impact on US society. They wanted to point that out.
People
And
were
it's
worried
a
about.
reverse made in USA thing, like don't buy from the commies because you're just empowering them, versus buying US goods.
I wonder, Sean, too, now that you mentioned that, if it was something that was added once it came to US, like this little stamp, because there is a stamp. It looks like it's like a, like a rubber stamp. And if you look at different models of these, they're stamped kind of sloppily in different places. They're not always in the same spot.
It was definitely it's definitely an import stamp to let people know, hey, this isn't Germany like you know it. This is the communists that pull all the strings in East Germany. And they just wanted to make sure that if you knew you were buying communist goods, and that was a pretty crappy thing to do.
So you think that was actually stamped by the US government and not?
No, I just think it was stamped by importers, and it was probably a requirement at the time, because the Cold War was really fully on by the late 50s, right? I mean, that's things really fired up. And that was a different level of escalation than earlier. Like we were still in early Cold War. I don't know when Churchill made his Iron Curtain speech, but I think it was the late 50s. And that's really what kicked off what we know in history now as, the Cold War. And I think that's what started that stamping. And those would have been done by, importers under requirements, probably, import requirements by the US government. And I doubt you would find East German typewriters in Europe for that market stamped that way, but I don't know. We'd have to find one too.
That's a
But I'm
really
gonna leave
good.
that with you.
Yeah, I mean, and also it's a QWERTY,
Yeah.
and I have other machines that are QWERTZ, so yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
You think if it was for European use, it would be CCCP. USSR is just in English.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but not for Great Britain. I mean, there is an English-speaking country in Europe.
Well, yeah, I suppose.
I suppose he says.
They don't totally qualify, I thought, Brian, but okay.
Bill, you have one.
Oh.
Sorry, I hope I'm not yelling into the speaker. Wow, you've got one too, Bill. All right, you've got the Calibri. Fantastic. 1957, right? Or is it 1956?
I haven't actually. Well, I may have looked it up, but I've forgotten what year it is.
Yeah,
But that's the first bicolor one that I've seen. They're still in the sort of gray-brown color scheme, but I've never seen one stamped like that that's burgundy or bright green. It's always this, yeah.
Sarah, I've got one from 61 or 62 after they dropped the Groma logo from the center of the ribbon cover, and it doesn't have that stamp on it by 62.
But
see, I think they stopped doing it in.
Check out the key map on this one though.
Like maybe 58 or 59, yeah.
Is that Dvorak?
Jorala.
Jorala.
What is that?
What does it
As
mean?
far as I can tell, it was a custom ordered machine.
It's a Rubik's keyboard.
Ooh, put it back together the right way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Wow.
this is as close to what I would call an intuitive keyboard that I've ever seen. Because on your right hand is A to K, on your left hand is L to Z.
Are you selling out Dvorak after all these years?
Yeah.
I was trying to think of what that was called, Sean. Yeah.
No, it's this is the only one of this key map I've ever seen, and I wanted it. And
Yeah.
the seller shipped it via UPS from the States. So I paid $80 to ship it, plus $80 import charges, plus $200 for the machine itself.
Woo.
Yeah.
So much money.
And the exchange
Yeah,
rate.
it was.
But
Yeah,
it's a rarity, though.
Yep.
Yes.
Yes, it is. Yep.
Yeah.
So someday I'll get it cleaned up and see how it feels thinking about typing with it.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
you don't have to remember all the letter layout, because you know that if a letter is in the first half of the alphabet, it's on your right hand. If it's in the second half, it's on your left hand. And the keys, if you start with your right index, go A, B, C, D, E, F. Middle finger, G, H, I, ring finger, J, K. Now, if I were to design that, I would have put the L on the bottom of the line for the ring finger. The left hand is L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z.
Wow.
But it's still kind of backwards because we read left to right. So A should not be on the right. A should be on the left.
That's true. Although most people are right-handed. Well, there's this whole right-handed culture.
Mm-hmm.
And when they teach you to type, they teach you to type letters and then words and then sentences and sentences. So once you're typing sentences, you need something that's comfortable for each finger. And I think I understand that's why they've developed what they've done away from that. But some people say it's intuitive, and I imagine it is if you're just typing individual letters, but you're typing whole sentences, which would mean that it might not be as nice and convenient for your fingers. I mean, I'm speculating here. I'm a master speculating.
The QWERTY board was designed to slow the typist down.
I thought it was to avoid the keys crisscrossing.
It is. If you think about it, when the QWERTY board was invented, the typewriters that Diane Maher, with the upstrike or the blind typewriters, were the mainstay of the office, and they had gravity return the keys or the type bars. So typists could easily tangle those keys under the platen, so that they didn't have to lift the platen, untangle the keys, put it down again, then start typing again. And so most people are right-handed. The QWERTY board is very left-hand biased.
I'm left-handed. That must be why I'm such a good transcriptionist. I do that for a living. I type all day.
Yeah.
And I actually can't remember which letters I'm using. It's so automatic now.
Yeah.
And you have to think of all the typing contests that people won out there. Did they actually win typing contests with that layout versus the QWERTY? You know, that it makes me wonder. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I won the electric contest at Herman's a couple of years ago, but I mean, it was electric. I would never have won in the standard against Richard Polt. So
Finally a win for left-handed people in history.
Thank goodness. I'm left-handed. I have
That's true. So there is a saying I've heard: if the left side of your brain controls the right side of your body, doesn't mean that left-handed people are in the right mind.
Of course we are.
There you go.
Everybody who's left-handed, raise your left hand. Wow, we really are a minority. This is sad.
About 10% of the population.
There we go. Which percent?
Wow. About 10% of the population.
Really?
Wow.
Of humans, not kangaroos.
Oh, thank you. That's good to clarify.
Like 60% of kangaroos are left-handed.
Really?
Yes. Well, someplace between
Wow.
60 and 90. There's
Are there
debate.
any kangaroos here?
It's
Oh,
more than half.
really?
Yep.
Wow.
That's
It's cool.
fascinating. I'm part
That's because-
kangaroo.
You see, I posted that Southpaw poem. Anyone remember on Facebook? It was about left-handed kangaroos and left-handed zippers.
Okay.
Oh, I'll have
Whatever.
to look that up.
So apart from kangaroos, let me just say that a lot of
okay.
professional athletes might play left-handed, even though they're right-handed when they write. And
Yeah.
and my dad was born left-handed and was corrected when he was young by the nuns and brothers
Mhm.
that were teaching school in Catholic school, and he ended up writing right-handed, but he would do everything like holding a hammer and a screwdriver and playing sports was left-handed.
That's
Mhm.
great.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's I think that there was this huge culture against left-handedness that went on, especially 100 years ago or 50 years ago. And so now everyone's kind of allowed to be the handedness that they are. But I think when typewriters were coming out, certainly right-handedness was preferred. It was considered a better thing. And there are cultures around the world where you use your right hand for one thing and your left hand for the other. That's all I know.
Correct.
So,
I see Diane Long has a hand up.
Yes.
We
Yeah,
can't hear you.
I was gonna add on to the topic when you guys were saying, where William was saying the letters were A, B, C, D, E, F, G, like it's like in order.
Yeah.
Like I would
Yes.
say it's the same with Mandarin too. Like I remember when I first learned how to type in English, I was really confused because I was like, why is all the letters like jumbled? Like why is it so messy? Like I don't know, because like coming from like a different country, I just thought, oh, keyboards are like that. And then when I first see the American keyboard, I was like, this is so weird. It's like A, B,
Interesting.
like it's everywhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just thought that was really interesting that I didn't knew that before they had like the different type of layouts with keyboards. I didn't know that was one of the
Well, Diane, what I suggest is do a little research on the Dvorak keyboard.
Dvorak?
D-V-O-R-A-K. Dr. Dvorak.
Oh yeah, uh-huh.
Yeah. He designed what he believed was a scientific keyboard layout.
Oh.
And the QWERTY keyboard is very left-hand bias.
Oh,
so it's left, 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 right, left, 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 right, right, left, left, left. Whereas the Dvorak is almost left, right, left, right, left, right, because all your vowels are under your left hand. The most common used consonants are under your right hand.
Oh, that is so weird.
Yeah.
And for all that great scientific approach, which sounds great, the Dvorak machines or the operators of Dvorak typewriters did not beat the operators of the QWERTY typewriters in speed contests in those years. And so I agree with William. It's a better design. It's actually, like more scientific and more balanced. But in terms of speed of typing, it didn't seem to have much of an impact.
So why did we ended up having QWERTY as like the international like?
Because it's a dinosaur that nobody could kill.
It's a what?
It's a dinosaur that nobody could kill.
Oh.
Well, it's the first guy who created the typewriter, right? Isn't this story that?
Scholes and Glidden, Christopher Latham Scholes got the patent for the QWERTY keyboard on June. Somebody help me here. I think June 23rd, 1893, was it?
I think it was June 24th.
June 23, 623.
June 23rd.
Typewriter.
It was way back when, and computers still use a dinosaur of a keymap layout because it stuck in industry and nobody wanted to change it.
And I would argue that one of the beauties of people versus even computers is that we don't people don't do things necessarily out of logic. They do things sometimes out of feeling, out of what they like, what they're used to. And those things are why there's artists, and there's, you know what, that's why some singer that like Mick Jagger or one of these guys, Neil Young, some of these voices that it's like, what the heck kind of voice is that? Sometimes they're the most popular people because they're real people that are, you know, it's not a matter of, well, technically they don't sing well. They're not an opera star, you know, yeah, but nobody cares. They love the way they are. So there's something to be said about art, what's it called? Poetic license, you know, that there's, and maybe QWERTY is more of a poetic license that it's popular, and maybe it'll be around a long time as long as we're using keyboards.
Well, there's also that thing that they say, if you can, you know, you could type the word typewriter on one of the lines. The guys that were going out and selling, you know, these typewriters were able to just type it really easily. So, you know, TYPER, right there in the middle of the keyboard.
Yep.
It's just,
things just very interesting.
Going.
All right. Bill, it's good to see you.
Good to see you too, Gregory. How have you been?
Very good. Very good. Yeah.
I simply joined today to hound Sean with more enthusiasm. So more encouragement. Anything I can do to get him writing.
Oh,
are you interro banging the enthusiasm?
No, because they're the enemy. So
that's right.
I don't want to be associated with the interro bangers. And
I love that. That was so creative.
Yeah.
Thanks, Bill. Appreciate it. Yeah. Now that we got an enemy, I can finish it.
There you go.
Very cool. And how's the typewriter collection going with you?
It's still going in reverse.
Okay.
So I'm continuing to weed out machines that I don't use as much, and streamlining, sticking with just those that I, you know, find myself going back to again and again. And so right now they're purely in the tools category. And so my focus for the last number of weeks now has been very much more on the writing itself, and the typewriters are just kind of there to be used, and I still enjoy them all. I'm having more fun typing now than ever before. But yeah, they're just the tools that enable me to do that, and that's kind of how I envision things from the get-go anyway, so that's all right.
Yeah. Well, I think as we collect typewriters, we start to learn what we like and what we don't like. And like for me personally, it's not really a necessity to continue exploring different kinds of typewriters, because I know what I like now, and I have a number of really good typewriters. So now it's become more about, using them. So yeah, it sounds like you're in that same kind of zone. You know what works for you, and you're just enjoying your favorites basically. So
yeah.
Excellent.
Definitely. So that's for me, that's a good place to be.
Yes.
And
yes.
I'd also mention I was super excited to see that Eric Tidd started his blog finally.
Cool.
So I've he's only made 2 posts so far, but I've enjoyed them both immensely. And so
me too.
He and I have been going back and forth quite a bit, swapping stories in our correspondence and talking about doing more writing. And so ultimately, I know he has a kind of a book project that he wants to put together for a friend about a fly fishing trip that they took. And so I was commenting, I think the more that you write, as it becomes habit, the easier it gets. That I don't know that necessarily means that we get any better at it, but it just feels easier to keep up with it when it comes part of your routine.
Yes, yes.
So I've made like a commitment to myself to type at least a page a day, just creative writing, something other than my correspondence stuff, and it does seem like the more I hang in there with that, the easier it becomes. I don't always find it quite as difficult to sit down to write, whereas in the past I don't know, just couldn't get myself to do so. Didn't feel like it, whatever. And so it does seem like as I incorporate it into my routine, it is becoming a little bit more accessible to me, which is nice.
Yeah, yeah. Do you
And
know
then
if Eric? Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Do you know if Eric has added his blog to the Typosphere blog roll?
Yes, he has.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, it's
Excellent.
called The Permanence of the Next Word.
Oh, I like that.
And
Nice.
yeah, the blog roll these days is so active that a lot of times you can't even see the full day's worth of activities before it, hides away the content, and you have to expand the list. So there's a lot going on, right? I don't know that what percentage of those blogs are typecast or even typewriter focused for that matter, but it has been super active lately, which is really cool to see.
Definitely. Very cool. Well, it is so good to see you, Bill.
Likewise.
Excellent. Let's see. The order on the screen has changed. Let's go with Robert. How are you, Robert?
Hello, good evening. Hope anyone can listen to me. Well, I'm fine. Really not much to talk about. Just fiddling with an SM7 with the tabulator brake, which is stuck. So I'm just working on it. Maybe you've seen fiddling me around with a screwdriver or some tongs and whatever. But I think I got it right now moving. SM7 is a fine machine. Everyone loves it. Yeah, different languages. Well, often I use, for you as a different language, German. And so I'm quite nice with QWERTY keyboards. I do have some QWERTY keyboards, which I really love to use for my English correspondence because the Y is more often used than the Z. So it's really easier. But I never would write an important German letter with a QWERTY machine, so there will be many mistakes. What I found, and it's on my bucket list for learning, I have two Cyrillic keyboards, two machines, not very good machines, but they have Cyrillic keyboards, one Olympia Traveler and I think it's a Monica or something, so mid-range or low-range keyboards. But this is on my list to learn some later, maybe writing in Cyrillic. Well, okay, Russian is a bit out of fashion right now due to some reasons we all know. It's a pity because Russian is quite a nice language to listen to, but well, they are a bit outside of how to say common sense right now. But I see. Now, and I'm in negotiation with a machine with an AZERTY keyboard. I never wanted to have an AZERTY machine, but the machine I'm negotiating on is one of these flat ROY, these really flat machines. And the seller is from Strasbourg, close to the border of Germany. And I think I asked and I got a good response. So maybe the deal will work. I hope then I can report next time. And this would be a ROY, this really flat thing. Well, I don't think it will be an everyday writer for me because AZERTY is quite difficult, I think, to write fluently. But for some reasons, maybe. And at school, I learned a little bit of French, so I can use it for my French correspondence if I have a partner which writes a really rudimental French, what I'm able to speak, not more. But let's see. So this is one of my foreign languages I'm interested. And I mentioned it many years, no, not many years. I don't know how long I'm with the Typewriter Club. I also own a Braille machine, which is right for blind people, which is just doing
yes.
some punctuations. Maybe someone remembers. I had it maybe
Yes.
half a year ago or something. This is for every language to use because or every language in the world has a Braille, the same pattern with these 6 dots. So this is also a writer with foreign language. And what I'm interested in, but I don't know if I really want it because I found it now as an offer, is a stenotyper, which is used in courtrooms or something like
Yes.
that. But I really start to learn this too, to all my other interests, guitar playing and
Yeah.
studying and whatever. So I'm thinking about, even as the price is not so low, if it would be just some euros, I would say, come on, give it just to my collection. But it's quite a bit expensive, but it's a long time offered. So maybe the price will descend. And then all of a sudden I would maybe say, okay, now I get it. And by interest, maybe I will figure out how it works. But steno is really, for me, a kind of art, especially when you know the people which used to write steno with only with a pencil, and they could write as fast as someone is speaking. So really interesting skill, but I think it's also a bit out of fashion because everyone now has a handy and and everything is recorded, and we are via ChatGPT, even the answer is generated. So whatever. Yeah, that's all what I think. I have some Italian machines, but they have a QWERTZ or QWERTY keyboard. The Italian keyboard layout is also a bit different as far as I know. I have one keyboard, but it's interesting. It's well, it's one of my Hermes. It's a Swiss keyboard because the Swiss keyboard is quite interesting. With a Swiss keyboard, you can generate many languages because the Swiss, they learn Italian, French, German, and their special Schweizerdeutsch, the Swiss language which no one can understand, but quite interesting. So that's all for now.
Okay.
Talk about typewriters. As I said, I'm just fiddling around with an Olympia. It's a really nice machine, and yeah, no. The spring is starting here. That's good because then I can go out in the garden and do some of my really dirty machines because they have a little compressor or with compressed air in there. It's better outside than into my room. On hand, it's very loud,
Yeah.
and then you have all the dust in your room and that you don't like. So this will be helping me to work on my old machines, which are just stored for being made. Yes, that's pretty all. Nice, interesting discussion here. I've heard about the Colibri and the issue with West Germany, East Germany.
Yeah.
As far as I know, it was like this. The name made in Germany was first a bit to underrate Germany, to say it is from Germany, though it's not as good. Later it came on that Germany started to become a mark for quality more. And so they said made in Germany was a quality mark, and everyone said, oh, great, it's made in Germany, so it has to be good, maybe. And of course, later it was really separated between made in Western Germany or East Germany, or made in Western Germany or GDR, German Democratic Republic, or DDR, Deutsche Demokratische Republik, which was East Germany. And there you really can see, if you work with East German machines, you could really see, of course, in Western Germany, it happened the same, but not as hard as in East Germany. First, the East German machines from the 50s were really good machines, even from the 60s. And later it rapidly decreased. So the latest East German machines, I think I have one at the Robotron. It is really crappy, totally crappy and cheap made. Compared, for example, for a Western Germany machine, I don't want to blame Eastern Germany or put Western Germany higher, but it has a history because why Eastern Germany, the quality has decreased. And the late West German machines, for example, the Comtessa or Monica from Olympia, it was still quite usable. But later then the electronic machines came, everything was over with the market. But there really, you can say Eastern German machines from the 70s or 80s is really hard to use. And a Western Germany machine was quite okay. I see Brian is just picking up, I think it's an Erica, is it? I think the yellow Erica, I think I have the same. I found it on the pavement, and this was quite not so bad. But it's really a nice looking machine. Is it an Erica? It's too.
That's right.
Yeah, GDR,
That's his
German
Tonka
Democratic.
truck. It's like
Yes,
a Tonka
yes.
truck or a school bus. I love it.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. This is quite not a bad machine, but when you compare it with an Olympia, it's a bit more comfortable, I would like to say.
Oh, yeah, it just looks cool. That's the reason to have it. But it's not a good typewriter.
Total Tonka.
Yeah.
Yes,
Robert,
yes.
That's cool.
Robert, I wanted to add too that there was a bit of a, where they were like monitoring the use of typewriters. There was this sort of information control that happened for a while during the communist takeover in Eastern Germany and stuff. So I think that there was a piece of that, and then also that a lot of factories were shut down in the late 50s, and there was a lot of people were very upset about that worked in those factories. There was a woman who did history about this. And some of it was sent over, like the Maritza ended up being made in other countries, but essentially, right. And that was the Princess clone. So Keller and Nappich, shut down, and some of the other companies, but that because people's typewriters were being sort of, logged and monitored, and there was this whole concern about contraband information getting out, that thing, like, with the Colibri in the lives of others and some of the other examples. Yeah. So there are a lot of, I think, maybe different reasons too, why not only the quality changed, but that people didn't want to talk about where this item came from, maybe.
That might be true. That's quite interesting because I have a Colibri too, but I have it because it has its normal serial number, and there's another number in, it was maybe hammered in. Maybe it's a registration number like this because it came from Eastern Germany. It could be that this they also took from every typewriter a fingerprint. The typeface was stored, so they really could figure out who wrote, for example, a political wallpaper or something, or letter or something, or a Casiba, which could be brought to jail or something like this.
Yeah, I heard that. I heard that the Erica, apparently the strike is so powerful that type bars hitting the page that you could actually layer like 6 carbon copy sheets and be able to make 6 copies of something. And so one of the ways that they controlled that information or allowed it to be published if it was contraband was that the person had to say that they wrote it and sign it or something, especially in the front page. So if they basically said, I am distributing this, I, Sarah Van Allen, or whoever you are, I wrote this bad thing, then they would allow you to have it. Otherwise, you would get arrested or something crazy would happen. And then even probably you could get arrested because here you are advertising that you're the one that wrote this thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Robert, do you have a Princess typewriter?
I have one, but I have to take a look. What's the question about it? I have one, yes.
Well, on the back where it says Heller and Napper and then all the German, can you, if you have a chance later on, can you say it in really thick German properly? Because we all trash German over here, like we don't speak it correctly, but man, hearing it properly done by you when you did DDR was like awesome.
DDR,
DDR.
Heller und Nappisch.
Heller und Nappisch.
Heller und Nappisch.
I will, oh wait, I can find the name here. I don't need I just open another window, or I will find it out and try to pronounce it so that every one of you know how to be pronounced. But I'm always pronouncing not in High Germany. I'm using the of my area. It's around Frankfurt, so we speak Hessisch, and so everyone can recognize me as someone from Hessen because of my kind of a dialect. So my English might
Well,
sound.
if you could do it in real high Prussian, that would be awesome. I'd love to hear it.
I
It would
try
be
to try.
ausgezeichnet.
What you said?
Ausgezeichnet. Isn't that like,
Ausgezeichnet, right?
that's like
Yeah,
outstanding, right?
What?
Doesn't it mean outstanding or something? Ausgezeichnet.
Outstanding, perfect, very good
Yeah,
means it.
I took 2
Ausgezeichnet,
years
yeah.
of high school German.
Oh.
Okay. So dann können wir uns ja auf Englisch, auf Deutsch unterhalten.
Sorry, I missed about half of that. Thank you.
Okay, no, I don't want to blame you. Okay, so I try to find my princess and I try to find my colibri. I got a little room here with
Okay.
many typewriters, so it may take a little. So
Okay.
I stick the microphone in the air for all of you and we see us in some minutes. And I
Okay.
will lift my arm when I'm ready. Okay.
Okay. Very cool.
So that
Uh,
Holda that you have, Sarah, that Holda typewriter, is that a German typewriter? Is Holda-
Swedish.
I believe it is this one. I'm
Swedish.
sorry, what was that, Sean?
Swedish.
Swedish. Yes, it's made in Sweden.
Oh.
And it is a Dutch keyboard. My friend that I'm cleaning these machines for is, well, there are a lot of, first of all, I live in the Silicon Valley, so there are a lot of Apple employees here and they love typewriters apparently. So, but this guy is from the Netherlands. And so he's very happy to have any kind of Dutch keyboard. And so it has these keys, for the capital letters, it says Hooft, HOOFD letters is what it says on there. And then for the, releasing that thing, it says Faststeller. I don't know what that means, but anyway, yeah, it's made in Sweden, but it has a Dutch keyboard.
I thought it looked like an Olympia SM series typewriter, and I just saw it for a second.
Oh, sure does. Yeah, it has a lot of that. Oopsie daisy. Sorry.
Yeah.
You guys must think I teach kindergarten the way I talk. Okay.
It's got that 1940s Royal Quiet Deluxe shape too.
Yeah, yeah.
It does. It does. It looks a lot like, I think I saw somebody post an Aristocrat this week that had the same color scheme. And I was like, oh my gosh, it looks just like a Halda. But this was apparently a Hemingway favorite. It's got an interesting plate on the bottom there.
Yeah, pegboard.
Wow. That's
I have
on the bottom.
I have not seen him here in a long while, but there was a member in Sweden. I just had his name now. Just dropped
Dan Linder.
Dan Linder.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes.
He's great.
Faucet.
Yes. He taught us how to say faucet and Halda. Halda. Yes.
I call it Halda. Okay. Yes. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Halda.
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 That's right. For my Halda.
He was recently married, right? So we might not see him for a while.
Okay.
I don't know. He seems like he's been doing type-ins and stuff. He went on a vacation and then came back. So I think he's gonna pop back onto the scene again.
It was a honeymoon, Sarah. You don't call that a vacation. You call it a honeymoon. Honeymoon.
Did I say vacation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God. I've been divorced for 10 years. That's what it does to you. You forget what a honeymoon is.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. One of these days I'll have a honeymoon again.
Oh.
I'm still alive.
Till then you're married to your typewriters.
Yeah.
I'm married to my type. No, please. That's like the worst thing. If that happens, get me some help.
Oh.
Quickly. I try to release as many as I acquire. At this point, I have 36 or something like that, and I've released into the universe about 34. I try to keep it balanced, So
nice.
Yeah, about ready to sell about 12 of them. So.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah. I see Robert's back. Did you have it, Robert? Not quite yet.
Yeah, I got both machines. Give me just 2 minutes. And
okay.
Sarah, I put a note in the chat for you, just so you know.
It's super secret.
Very, very secret.
Everybody can read it.
Thank you very much. That's lovely.
Yeah, it's a
I-
very cool machine.
But I think, Sarah,
Yes.
you're onto something. Obviously, you did a lot of research about this, and the Optimas and the Gomas that were sold in Canada were not stamped. So I do believe that Sean's I couldn't add anything to Sean. He said it like the way that I understand it as well, is that would have been a requirement. But that being said, we don't know also if there was any like excise tax added or some kind of taxation issue, or a political aspect with, the McCarthy Commission, and so on and so forth. Certainly, it's very, very different. In those years, Canada sold a lot of wheat to Eastern Europe and USSR, and we imported quite a number of things from them, like some deals to have trade both ways. And we imported tractors from the USSR. We imported a lot of vodka that came from there, of course, but more things like machinery,
To deal with the
and
cruel
there was
winters.
a lot of heavy machinery made from the Czech Republic, well, Czechoslovakia back then, but and so on and so forth. So there was a lot of that would be imported as a counterbalance to maybe like the fact that they were buying millions of bushels of wheat from Canada.
That's fascinating, Daniel. Thank you. I appreciate that comment. I think it would be interesting to see if there's anything like that up in Canada, but sounds like from that time period, it was not stamped. So this is really a United States Russia thing.
Yeah,
We're
It's
really
pretty
looking forward to
unusual.
we're looking forward to your final report next week, Sarah.
Yes. Typed, of course.
Typed, of course.
Oh yeah.
Typed, double spaced,
In
no
triplicate.
mistake.
No
In
mistakes,
triplicate.
yes.
And Sarah, just wanted to add, Canada is very, very wide and has my fellows from the prairies suffer from very cold winters, but there's
Yes.
something like the western coast of Canada, which has a very, very mild climate, just like Seattle, let's
Yes.
say. And there's like the Maritimes on the eastern side, seaboard, which has very mild winters as well. And central Canada has like a bit of both, some cold sometimes, but very warm summers. So it's not all equal.
Yeah.
I've heard that it's kind of like there's a Florida of Canada. There's an area where it's warm, but you have to be old and have money to live there.
Yeah, it's called Phoenix.
Where?
Phoenix, Arizona.
Oh, Sean. No, I mean, there's actually a place. You know the place. I'm sure you
Victoria.
do.
Yeah, the Okanagan,
Victoria.
interior BC.
Okanagan.
Okanagan.
Victoria.
Yeah.
Okanagan or Victoria.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
Victoria.
Mhm.
Victoria is a place for newlywed and nearly dead.
Yes.
That's what they say.
So
I've been there once. I went on a trip with a choir when I was in high school up to
Okay.
Victoria, and I got to see the
wow.
wax museum, which is now no longer in existence up there. But beautiful
Yeah, hot
place.
outside.
I'd move there in a heartbeat if they'd have me.
We'd have you.
Yeah, we'd have you.
Why did they get rid of the wax museum?
It got too hot one year.
Sean.
Power outage, and they needed candles.
It had to do with they needed to have retrofitting on the building. The building was starting to fall apart, and
Oh.
they weren't able to raise enough money, as I understand it, to be able to fix the building. The man who was the proprietor of the museum still has a majority of the collection either in his basement or cold storage, and he actually keeps some of it in his house. Like he has the whole
Ooh.
royal family at his living,
That'd be creepy.
his dining room. It's
Oh,
weird.
wow.
But you can look it up. It closed in the early 2000s, I believe. Fascinating story, Madame Tussauds up in Canada, but
I
that
think they closed
particular
the
one.
one. I think they closed the one in California too. The wax
Did they?
museum in I think so. I think
I
heard
think
that
I did hear that. Yeah. It
I'll have
was
to look
in
into that.
Hollywood, right?
I'm wondering. Yeah, I wonder if it's just because it is creepy or what. I wonder
We were just at the one in California last summer, so.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
okay.
I mean, I live in
There
San
still is one.
yeah, I live in San Jose, but I thought they had one maybe in San Francisco, but maybe I'm wrong about that. But I know each one of those pieces is worth like $20,000, just one person
wow.
in wax, because it's such a complicated process. And this is even weirder, but they take the heads off. They put the heads in a box and they put the body in the other thing. And, the heads are kept separately. It's just too much. So, but there is a person who's trying, like he hopes to be able to reopen a museum, but I think it is really one of those weird corners of life history that people are kind of off put by.
Yeah.
Is that
yeah.
the Hollywood Wax Museum was that you went to?
Yeah, that was the one. Mhm.
William, what are you showing, William?
In response to what Joe Van Clee was showing.
Oh, I see. There's a bit of a dialogue, visual dialogue between Joe and William then.
Yeah.
We're having a back and forth.
Yeah.
I was just being silly. I was just doing this with my correction tape and just,
Oh yeah.
just silly. Never mind. Go
And
back to what you're talking about.
No, we want to hear from Robert now.
I happened to score a couple of sample packets of different color correction strips, which enables me to type on different color paper and make corrections.
Oh,
That's nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
you
cool.
have a very, very rare things, William.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, if you pay for Chat GPT 4, I would put those in, I'll take a picture of those and submit those and see what it really means. Because I don't know if you realize it, but the new Chat GPT, you can put images in and interact with it that way, and it'll make websites for you, but you have to pay for it.
I think it does video as well.
Oh, does it? Wow.
Yeah. Robert, did you have the pronunciation for us?
Sagen Sie uns,
Yeah.
wie man Deutsch spricht.
You mean Keller und Knappig, don't you?
Yeah.
Keller und Knappig.
Keller. So.
Und
Keller und Knappig.
GmbH. GmbH.
GmbH.
Augsburg.
Keller und Knappig, Augsburg, Germany.
Deutschland.
Keller und Knappig.
Knappig, okay.
Keller und
Knappig.
Knappig. GmbH.
Is that a newer? I mean, well, what I'm saying, I have a Princess 300. What is that one?
That's a 100.
Oh, okay. It looks different on the back than mine does.
Okay.
It looks newer.
I don't know.
than mine.
The 300s have the push button ribbon doodad jobby,
Yeah.
which is so fun.
Yes. So
What
this
year
was
is that?
the Princess. What is it?
What year is that? Yours?
I have to figure out. Wait, or did I have? Wait,
Yeah.
look at the box. If
I
I
have to
have,
look up what mine is. I forget.
normally I nope. I will just check it out and tell you in a minute. But
Okay.
first, want to show you something. This is now my Colibri here. I will just swap the camera. No, that was a wrong button. I need the back camera. So I hope you can see it. Sorry. This is my Colibri here. And what you can see here, it has two numbers. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I bet you're right. I bet you're absolutely right. They use that as like a tracking number. This person's registered, et cetera,
Yep.
et cetera.
Now the lower number is the serial number, and the upper name, it's kind of hammered in. I don't know, 8368. This might be a kind of a registration number.
I wonder, would it have been a telephone number? Because remember in the olden days, you could dial your local phone number with 4 digits instead of the whole thing. I wonder if that
Yes,
could be
yes.
also.
And on
Right.
the lower,
Like an employee's number, like if they were work machines, I know that
Oh,
job now, everybody's got a laptop. Well, they're owned by the company, so we each have our own like serial number attached. Kimberly's got this machine. This is, so you don't have stolen
Yeah.
machine returned to the
Yep.
company.
Could be. I mean, I've gotten machines that did have people's social security numbers, etched in them, but
Oh,
this
yeah.
is different. I think that what he's saying, though, what Daniel's saying is that this might have been, or Robert, I mean, is that it's a trackable type of thing where they were registering who was allowed to have typewriters.
Yeah.
There was a time
Maybe.
where there was
I don't
information
know.
control. Yeah.
So I don't know anything about the history of this particular machine. I just bought it and the seller couldn't tell me anything. Normally I ask and some tell me something about where it came from, the granddad or from the business or whatever. But I don't have any clue about where this machine really came from and whatever. So quite interesting. Maybe I will look, maybe we could find on the database a machine with a similar numbering, and this could bring some light into the dark or whatever. Yeah, I just typed on it and it really types well, although I've forgotten about it a bit. Often I have a problem with these ultra portables is typing with the pinky, the A, though I got to go to the gym with my little pinky. Which works really fine on electrics or on the really Hermes 3000. You can type for hours with the pinkies, but some machines often you have to and this sorry for the word, it sucks a little bit, but it does.
Maybe,
it's a kind of
maybe you could get a little extension for your pinky that you just wrap
Yes.
around your finger like a Band-Aid with a pad in there, and maybe it just needs to be a little longer. Some
thimbles on it.
I have to do all.
Thimble.
Maybe practicing a bit more scales on guitar. Yes, Larry.
There you go.
It's easier than working out. I figured they'd give it a try anyway.
I'm with Larry.
No, it wouldn't be boring. Wouldn't it be boring if we don't have any problems? So quite interesting. Yeah. Another thing I can tell you about problems, because I really had some problems as I was typing a lot. I had some pain here in my elbow. It started. And now I got one of these things, maybe you know it, and it really helped. Yeah. It's fine. So when I do a lot of typing, even with a bit harder machine, it really helps to prevent pain. So when you just, maybe you know it, my doctor told me you have to put it here and then put it a bit tight, and it puts some pressure here on the lower arm muscles, and it really helps to prevent pain. If someone of you have problems like this, I can recommend these. Okay. Even if you do other works, for example, painting or other movements.
Yeah.
That's not a bad thing, just as a recommendation. If someone faces problems like this could be a solution.
Yeah.
If it turns blue.
It's cheaper. Just
if it turns blue,
on it. Just tighten it.
You have numbness or tingling. Stop.
So I think this is all from the other side of the pond. So I'm just listening to all of your interesting content. It's really every time I'm so happy to be here, and the exchange is always great, funny, not too serious, sometimes interesting, sometimes interesting either. So have a good day. We have evening now, so it's 20:08. So yeah, thanks.
Right. Thank you so much, Robert.
Danke. Ja.
Tschüss.
Tschüss.
All right. Waz, how are you doing?
Sarah?
Yeah.
I think we should meet for a chat in German.
Oh.
Ausgezeichnet.
There you go.
I need a lot of practice. Let me tell you, it's been a long time.
That's the problem with languages. When you learn them and you can't use them, they got lost. But you can regenerate it very easily. It's not so bad, I think.
It's true. I got a helper recently from Portugal, so I'm trying to learn a little Portuguese now, and it's definitely a challenge. So anyway, have a wonderful night.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. Yeah, Waz, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm good. I'm good. Today I picked up this Galaxy a couple months ago and I really, really love typing on it. But the ribbon cover that's supposed to like just, slide really easily, it was sticking really bad. And it was like really like just grinding. So I took it here in town to Mr. Lewis, and he was like, I've never seen anything quite like this ribbon cover, which was shocking to me because it just was. So we played around with it for a while. It's a little bit better. And so I noticed that afterwards, though, when I would use the space bar, it would skip. I'd get 2 spaces. And so I was really bummed because I love using the machine. And then, I just was like, well, what did we do to it? And then this morning, I'm like, okay, I'm going to be really like how my dad used to do, like if something wasn't working, like let's just bang on it a bit. So I literally just picked her up and shook her, and she doesn't skip anymore. So I'm really happy about it.
That was a very technical fix.
Very technical, and it worked. So,
Nice.
I'm happy about it. But I like how Bill worded it, that my collection is going in reverse right now. I mentioned that when I first started, I think like many of us, like probably all of us, like I just started collecting all the little orphans around town that I could find, and just like figuring out what I liked. And I have a pretty good idea of which ones I like now. So I'm starting to sell some. And actually, because we had the type-in last week that Joe hosted, I've sold several because people are on like Craigslist, like, oh my gosh, now I know, like I want a typewriter, and I'm like, whoa, it's a market now. So it's nice that some of the ones that I wasn't using are finding homes now. And then I had somebody over the other day who was just like, we found out we went to the same college, and like I just made friends, typewriter people are just coming into my house, just trying on my typewriters. So I'm like doing personal. I joke that I'm going to add like typewriter matchmaker to my resume because it's really funny. Like people will come over and they're like, okay, I think I really like this one. And then they talk about what they like. And I'm like, ooh, try this one. And then they're like, oh, wow. So that's been fun. But I haven't gotten any new ones in my collection. I did pick up a Hermes from someone just because. And I feel it's like weird. I don't know if this is like Hermes is like a polarizing thing in the community or not, but I don't really like it. I don't like typing on it. And I feel like, oh my gosh, is that like, I'm going to be like X'd out of the club. But it just, I don't know if it's like the one that I have or what, but it's just not my favorite. So I'm like.
Not everybody does. Not everybody does.
Yeah.
Some people find it squishy. It's just, it's personal preference for sure.
It's like
it's okay to not like it.
Yeah, totally fine. There are others that will happily take it off your hands.
I know. And so I'm like, do I keep it in the collection just because I should have one? But like I had an Olivetti that was beautiful. It was a one of the Studio 44s, right? 44s, Studio 44. And it was beautiful. It was in a great shape. I had to do like hardly anything to it. And I just didn't like typing on it. So I found a home with somebody who really loves it. So I think that's like where I am right now. Like I have 3 that I really love. 2 are Smith Coronas and one's Olympia. I just love those machines a lot, except for one of the Olympias that I'm selling right now is the Socialite. Like I was at the type-in, I got to try the Splendid. And that one's just so much better. That one's way better. So I'm like, okay, my Socialite can go. And yeah, so I'm just, I'm purposely not going out to find any right now because I'm like, just figure out the ones you have. And there's some that I'm doing minor repairs to, but doing a lot more writing with them, which has been fun. So I got invited to do another typewriter poetry event for here in town. So I'll probably do that next month. But yeah, just typing, doing the stuff.
Nice. Excellent. All right. Well, it's so good to see you, Waz.
Yeah, thank you. Good to see everyone.
Yeah. And Kimberly, we haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, I'm still debating on whether I'm going to move apartments or whatever, slowly getting situations for maintenance issues and stuff fixed up. Like I had a broken shower for 2 years that just got repaired yesterday. So there's the whole debate of like, do I still try to find a new place or do I stick it out here and try to get the other things repaired? I don't know. Like, so I still have a lot of my belongings packed up and I don't want to unpack if I'm going to move, but I want to unpack if I'm going to stay. So I don't know. Life is
Yeah.
still in reverse, but at least it's happier. Like I was in some pretty desperate situations where like, I have to get out now. This is not safe. And now I don't feel that urgency anymore. I feel like, okay, I have some breathing time.
Well, that's
So-
good. Definitely.
So trying to get back to normal life. And it's hard when everything you own is boxed up, like you can't enjoy your hobbies because all your stuff is boxed up and stuff. So I'm slowly like relaxing and maybe unpacking one box or, you know, accessing something slowly, try to get back to real life.
Yeah, yeah. And are you doing any typing as far as letters or anything like that?
Well, I haven't because all of my letters that need replies, they've all been boxed up. So I don't
Oh,
even know
yeah.
how to send someone's letter unless I just start brand new and say, hi, I know I've owed you a letter for 2 years, but here's what's happening in my life now. Like, I don't even know.
You can do that. Yeah, you can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Are I know you're probably not in the mode of buying, but are there typewriters still on your wish list?
There's, you know what, I'm not in the, like, obviously, because I still have like 16 and I'm trying to figure out how to house them. Like, do I get a shelf? Do I get how do I don't want to stuff them in a closet. Like, how do I have them where they're accessible and yet I'm not tripping over them kind of thing. So I don't really know how to keep them in the home, like keep them in a nice way that's usable and accessible and figuring that out. So I haven't really added to the herd, but I always want to. Like the itch is still there, like especially something pretty and we're in perfect working condition. Cause you know, I always buy the ones that have already been refurbished by somebody, the very expensive high-end ones, because I can't maintenance my own machine. So yeah, I'm always looking, but I'm not on the hunt specifically for anything. I think I like different typefaces. So if I found a unique typeface, I'd want to add that to the collection. Even if it was a janky model or whatever, I would still be interested in adding it. As far as I've got enough of variety in terms of makers like German and Swiss and American. So I don't feel the need to experiment. Like, what am I going to like? Like you were saying, we kind of know what, but I still like everything. Like, it's just different. I like it in a different way, and the Bettys are very different, but I don't dislike them the way some people do. Or, the Hermes, I don't dislike it the way some, I just, you like whatever's in front of you at the moment. I'm not that picky. I guess it's like with food too. I could eat a variety of different foods, ethnicities. I don't really have, I have things, I guess, that you say, oh, I really love this, but I love everything. So.
Excellent. But that can also be a very dangerous quality though, because then you're amenable to everything, and
yeah.
So it doesn't help as far as limiting your collecting.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, it's so good to see you, Kimberly.
Thanks, I've missed you. Well, I've been watching you. You didn't see me. I've been watching replays and stuff, but I haven't really missed you, but I've missed you.
I know. You know where to find us, right?
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Joe's typing. I caught Joe typing.
Hello.
How are you?
I am fine. It's great to see everybody.
Yeah.
I was glad that you have the later meeting times, because I was this morning down at the museum going through a photography exhibit, and it's nice to get back and still have the meeting going on. So that's cool.
Yes.
Yeah. So we had a very nice meeting last Saturday, public typewriter meeting here in town. So it was really good. It was a lot more people than we expected, actually. So that was a great success. And I did come away with a couple electronic typewriters, and we actually got a IBM Model A, one of the first commercially successful electric typewriters from 1938 that we picked up from somebody, and Kevin's been working on that, and he's making good progress. It has a gearbox full of gear oil that connects the motor to the rest of the mechanism. So anyways, it's quite interesting. So we might be seeing that one of these days on one of my videos. But in the meantime, I've been this week I've been typing on some electronic daisy wheel typewriters, and that's been fun. I haven't really played around with those in a long time, so it was kind of cool. So
Yeah. I did notice I was curious, and then so I was looking at accessories for Brother daisy wheel typewriters, and I did notice that things are more expensive than like with Smith Corona. You can get daisy wheels for like $10.
right.
With Brother, it looks like they go usually between 30 and 50.
Yeah. So Brother doesn't make any type wheels anymore. And it turns out, according to, there was a website I found, which is typewriters.com, right? They sell ribbons and supplies and stuff. And according to them, Rarotype is the only maker of type wheels left. They're out of Germany. They are the same company that Ted Monk has the Rarotype Foundry type sample books that he's been posting, right? So I ordered a type wheel from Rarotype from this company, and I finally they said I was ordering a script type wheel, right? I had a Broem 10 that came with the Brother. I ordered a script. I got the box in, it said script on it, and it was a Broem 10 wheel in the script box. So I emailed them and they sent me back a script wheel again. So it's nice having an extra wheel, but they are made in Germany, and they are full retail is like $50 almost, right? If you pay the full price. I don't know if the Smith Corona wheels are just new old stock or used on the used market, but they are, obviously Smith Corona is not making type wheels or typewriters anymore. So there may have just been so many millions of Smith Coronas made out there. And also the Smith Corona wheels don't have any they're not in a little plastic case or anything. They're just the wheel itself. Whereas the Brother wheels have, let's see, can I get it now? The Brother wheels have a clear plastic frame that they're mounted in.
Yeah.
It's like a little flat box, and that's part of it. So there's a little bit more to them in terms of materials and stuff, but yeah. So I have the other machine was a Sears Smith Corona from 92, and I got it working. It uses the H series ribbons and stuff. So those are pretty common.
Yes.
So, but for some reason I've been using the Brother machine more, and I don't know if it's because it's newer, but it does look like very similar to the latest Brothers that you can still buy out there on Amazon new, or maybe they're recently manufactured or new old stock or whatever they are. So,
exactly. Yeah.
But anyways, it's been a fun experiment, and it is. I think yesterday afternoon I wrote a blog article, and for the first time in like 6 days, I sat down at a manual typewriter again. I've been, daisy wheel typing for 6 days, and it was definitely a difference. Had to get used to it again, but yeah, it was fun. It's been a fun experiment.
Yeah. I discovered an interesting channel. It's called Orca Type, and he has a video where he goes through and he has a number of daisy wheel typewriters, and he goes through and times because we all know that the daisy wheels, one reason people don't like them is because there's that delay between when you press the key and when it strikes the paper. So he goes through and measures it on all these different typewriters. So it's very fascinating.
Yeah.
So you might want to look for that video, Orca Type.
Okay. Yeah, so this Brother is a little slower. I mean, the delay, I should say, is a little longer than on the Smith Corona, but it's probably because the Brother has a dictionary. And even though you can disable the dictionary so it doesn't beep at you when you misspell a word, it still buffers it probably through there. So it's a little slower to operate. But it has that liquid crystal display that you can put it in the line by line typing mode where you're typing through the display, so you have a chance to correct the line before it prints. And when you're doing that and just looking at the liquid crystal display, you don't really see the delay, right? The delay is only if you're printing directly to paper, right?
Exactly.
So,
yeah, because you're expecting it to hit the paper like when you press the button, but you press the button and then it hits the paper.
And then I think I saw, I think they said it'll type, the specs in the owner's manual say it'll type up to 12 characters per second. And then it says it has a 48 character memory buffer. And then it has a 9-inch printing line. And if you do all the math, it comes out to, like, if you're typing at 10 characters per inch, it comes out to be about 144 characters per minute is the maximum typing speed you could type on that machine and not overwhelm the memory. So I
Interesting.
think it's, even though there's a delay, if you just ignore the delay, it's plenty fast to type on. It's faster
Yeah.
than I can type accurately, that's for sure. So
Yeah.
I'm nowhere near that.
Yeah.
So yeah. And you know,
Very
there
cool.
were some daisy wheel typewriters that bragged about being, 17 or 18 characters per second. And it's like, well, that's like 200, almost 180 words a minute. So I don't know who they were marketing that product to, but certainly not a person like me in my typing skills. But
Yeah.
anyway, so yeah, so I guess the reason why I was interested in these machines was, well, for one, they're free and it's an opportunity to tinker with them, but also these are the last new typewriters you can buy that are of any decent printing quality, right? So it's kind of interesting to try them out, at least, right? To see what is it all about? And what are daisy wheel typewriters all about if you haven't tried them out before? So I don't know, if you get one for cheap, inexpensively used, I think they're kind of fun to have, and you can collect the print wheels if you want. I mean, like you do with a Selectric or whatever. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I won't say that I'll necessarily use them all the time, but this one, or these two I got this week, are at least smaller and lighter than that old Nakajima made Olympia Report Electronic. That's a huge, massive tabletop size daisy wheel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, Joe.
Yes.
So I was reading, I read your blog post the other day about the daisy wheel machines, and I actually had a question, and I started typing it out in the comments, and by the time I was almost done, I was like, this is way too long and convoluted, so I just asked you on Typewriter Club Live instead.
Oh, it's long and convoluted.
That's kind of my tendency, I think.
No, go for it.
I was curious if you have tracked your typewriter collection from like the very beginning. I know you keep all of your you have your little booklet with all of your notes and so forth on the machines. Did you start that from early on?
I started a typing book. It was one of those circa ring bound books. I started that, but not at the earliest part of my collecting. It was more maybe 8 years ago or something. I don't know. I started doing that. I took a snapshot of all my collection at the time, and then I kind of quit doing it for a while. And so the latest incarnation, which is let's see, it's this book here in my overhead shot. That's the latest version, and it's certainly up to date with everything I currently have now. But I've had a lot of machines over the years that I've gotten rid of. Like I've had 3 Olivetti Lettera 22s, right? I don't think any of the, I think 1 or 2 of them might still be documented in the typewriter database, but I don't really have any type samples or anything from those, because that was so early in my collecting, back 12, 15 years ago, that I wasn't real. So I guess the answer to your question, to make a convoluted answer, is I have not been consistent with doing that throughout my entire collecting history, but I wish I had been.
Well, the reason I asked is because in that post you were talking about, you made some mention about what the likelihood of those machines lasting for any length of time might be, and I was just curious if you had any idea of like how long on average do you tend to hang on to the typewriters that you do buy, and like if you still have your first, second, or third machines that you bought, or have those all moved on?
I think my first one that was when I became a collector, I think was the first Groma the first Royal Mercury. And I sold it to a local person just a couple of years ago, only because I found the other Royal Mercury that was even better shape. And
Yeah.
I like the styling. It was like they did a model year styling change on the next year which was the previous one I had, and I didn't like it as much as the new one I got. So I got rid of it and to a local collector, but that was only because I liked the other one better. I think it's still around. I did see my Facet 1620. It was at the Type-In last week.
Oh, cool.
It was just one of the other people that I sold it to brought it in, and it works just as good as it did before. So it was like a little reunion of sorts.
Aw.
You know. Yeah. So I've seen a few of them around town.
I have something cool to add for Joe. I recently met with a guy named Scott in Palo Alto, and he was showing me his collection. And he said, I got this one typewriter once, and I opened it and I looked, and there was this whole book that was talking about how to operate the machine. It was all hand typed up. And he said, I looked at the I don't know if it's the bottom of the cover or whatever. And he said, I realized it said Joe Van Cleve on it. And I was like, oh my gosh, you have a real Joe Van Cleve typewriter. So somewhere it was like all the dots connected.
What kind of a typewriter was it?
I'm going to have to ask him, because he was just chatting and sort of showing me other machines, and I didn't see the one that he was referring to.
Oh.
But
There's
I'll
a guy
ask
in Arizona that I sold my Underwood Universal to. So
Could be
maybe
that. Because he
that was
really
it.
he loves the Underwood 5s, and I don't know that it was something like that. It was more of a modern machine. But I'll find out for you. I thought that was just really neat, because I said, oh yeah, Joe is wonderful. And he sent me a ribbon punch once, and he said, oh yeah, well, tell me about the grommets, because these are the ones I use. And I said, yeah, this is what Joe uses. And it was just this great conversation. Some guy in Palo Alto you've never met. So just so you know.
Oh, that's pretty cool. That is neat.
Yeah, you're famous.
Yeah, well, speaking of that, Chris, I had the week last week, I guess, before the Type-In, we had the local newspaper article that you guys might have seen, right? About the Albuquerque Journal that came over to my house and interviewed me. Well, I get a call, or I get an email maybe Wednesday of last week. And a guy who I forgot about, he is a reporter for the Gannett newspaper chain, and he had interviewed me about a year ago, and I kind of forgot about it, right? And he emails me and says they're going to publish the story finally, and they needed new photos of me. So I sent him in. Anyway, so there'll be some kind of other story coming out too in the Gannett newspaper chain somewhere. Anyways.
Great, Joe.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I love reading articles about you guys. It's just so much fun. It's always
it is fun to see other people. I mean, it's kind of, I get a little self-conscious about, but it's nice to see, like I remember, when Ted has had quite a bit of, publicity also. And it's just nice to see people that that get notoriety and a little bit of recognition. And that's a good thing.
100%. Yeah. Love it.
Excellent.
So what was the whole discussion? I missed the discussion about the Calibris and the East German typewriters. I just happened to have my Calibri here. I brought it in. It was not.
Sarah had a really cool Groma that she showed earlier that I was actually envious of.
Oh, where is it?
Well, I found your machine, Joe, because I was doing some research on something.
Oh, yes.
So I had gotten this locally from this guy, Scott, that I was telling you about.
That's just really cool looking.
I love it. It's a wonderful, wonderful machine.
Good. It's just a little bigger than the Calibri itself.
Right. So here's the thing, Joe, is this is from 1957. And notice it's got the stamp on the back.
Yes.
Right. So I started to do a little deep dive, and I found out that the Calibris from that era also have that stamp, but only from 1956 and 57, from what I can tell. 1957 is when Sputnik was launched. My friend Tom was telling me about this.
Right.
And then I figured out that you have the 1957 version, or that your friend Kevin had given you.
Yes.
That one. And it also has
it is a 57, and because I have the book right. And it is the year of my birth, by the way. So that's kind of cool.
Wow.
I'm a Sputnik baby.
Yay. So we're trying to figure out, why was it that these machines, only from this really finite period of time, had this USSR occupied Germany stamp only from 1956-57, not from any other time when there would have been occupation.
Yeah, it's an interesting question because as I remember, I'm kind of a student of nuclear weapons history because my dad was in that business, but 1957 was the maximum megatonnage of hydrogen bombs in the US and USSR inventory. If you look at all the yields of all the weapons multiplied by all the weapons, the maximum megatonnage throughout history was in 57.
Interesting.
So, yeah. So maximum nuclear threat in a sense, combined with, the space race rivalry between the two countries and all that. So yeah, it is a good question, but certainly the Colibris were marketed toward, I would say, an external or export market.
Right.
I mean, it's clear that they tried to show off their engineering and their design prowess, right? Having a machine this pretty with all the chrome plated parts, and
exactly
with an American keyboard or Western keyboard, So they certainly understood the whole Western marketing thing. And this is true also with cameras, right, of the era. They were marketing Ukrainian and Russian made cameras in the West also.
And radios, different types of technology. People had the theory, some of the folks here had a theory. I know Bill has a 1956 or 57 that's also stamped. But the idea was that maybe it was stamped after the fact, like during the import process in the United States, it was added on perhaps, because I noticed with some of these stamps, they're sideways, they're located in different spots on the back of the machine.
I noticed does yours have a double stamp? There was a second stamp on the back.
Yeah, let me see if I can find,
there's a darker one on the upper right corner.
Right. And then there's one that's really pretty clear.
Yeah.
One that's blurry and one that's clear. I don't know if you can tell.
Yes.
But I found this really fascinating, and it kind of made me ask a lot of questions. Another person mentioned that up in Canada, there were a lot of imports of Russian objects like this, but they were not stamped in this way, or may not have been. So we were thinking that it has something to do with how the United States was handling imports from, this Eastern Bloc time, or from.
It would be nice to know who the distributor was in the US for those typewriters. Like your stamped, the USSR on yours has periods between each letter, and mine doesn't.
Oh, interesting.
So it's a different stamp, physically a different stamp. So
that's interesting. I didn't notice that before.
Like Olympias were marketed in the US through a marketing company in New York, I think, whatever the address is. If you have an SM3 or SM4, you'll see that stamp on the back or that badge on the back. And so I don't know what importer. There was obviously an importer in the States that were selling them.
I know there was a catalog named Neckermann in Germany that was selling the Gromas, but I don't know if that was related in any way. There must have been a US company. I'd just love to know the answer to these questions. Yeah,
it is a real interesting question because it deals with, Cold War history, and which is pretty recent for us middle-aged boomers that are, that remember that time a little bit. Yeah.
Right. Well, and also just the fact that it was only during those 2 years or so that I'm finding any evidence of machines from that time. I went through the database and I looked at the backs of every Colibri and every Groma that I could find. And it seems like they're only 1956, 1957. That's it. All the other years, it's not the case, even though USSR was occupying Germany prior to that, as far as I understand it.
And then you have the tension in Berlin happened in 1960, was it, or 61, when there was more tension in Berlin. I can't remember history there, because there was also a Berlin airlift in the late 40s, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Right. There was something to do with the government taking over factories so that they were no longer private organizations, but they became like controlled by whatever government was there. There was a word for it, actually. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah. So it's interesting. Maybe it was a marketing thing in Germany. Maybe they got a distributor to sell them out of West Germany, and they didn't need the stamp anymore. Maybe it was an internal German thing as to why they had to have the stamp for a few years and they didn't afterwards. It's an interesting question. I don't know. that's a good thing for a researcher or historian to figure out. But
Yeah. It's unique anyway.
it is.
You've got a unique machine there.
Yes.
Yep.
Which makes me want to, now I'm thinking I should go get I should get one of those stamps made.
No, don't do it, Joe.
No, not really. I could stamp it on everything. Hey.
I just saw a video where a woman's making like stamps she's doing lino cut out of erasers. Have you guys heard of this?
Oh yeah.
Where they take like
yeah.
a little, like a knife or a type of chisel thing, and no ideas.
Okay, I might have to try that. I've done a little bit of lino cut actually. I was thinking I should do a typewriter thing, a little typewriter lino cut thing, because
we'd love that.
Linoleum block printing is a lot of fun. It really is. So
Yes.
I'll buy it. Make it.
Okay.
I'll buy it.
I know.
Take my money. It's got a typewriter on it.
But anyways, having typed on a daisy wheel typewriters for 6 or 7 days, it's kind of nice to get back to a manual typewriter, and I really do like the Calibri for that. I think Waz was mentioning that she really liked the Splendid 33, and I think that's one of my favorite ultra portables, certainly, and one of my favorite typewriters, period. And it might just be that particular machine just happens to feel better than, because I had an Olympia SF.
It's an excellent machine. Yeah.
And the SF wasn't nearly as good of a touch as this one. This one is a little lighter, but still has that solid feel to it,
Yeah, I sent Gregory a Splendid 33 a couple of years ago, and it is an amazing, beautiful, solidly built machine.
Yes.
They really are
Oh,
wonderful.
yeah.
I mean, as portables go, they're great.
Yeah.
And I was going to say, Sarah, it's really great hearing you and seeing you on the live stream. We missed you.
Thank you, Joe.
Yeah.
Thank you. Likewise, it's great to see you too.
Are people aware that the Olympia SF actually has a touch control on it?
Huh.
Yeah. So's the Traveler.
It took me a couple of years to find it on mine.
Where is it located?
Open the ribbon cover, then go to the far right-hand end of the dowel rail, and then there's a little rocker lever that rocks back and forth.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, because I have a couple of those. I have 60s era one and a 50s era one. So I'll have to look for it.
See, when I got my Olympia SF Deluxe, I cleaned it up and I was kind of disappointed with how heavy it felt.
Yeah.
Then I happened to come across a PDF download for the operator's manual from Richard Paul's site, and looked it up, opened the cover, opened the lid, there it was, set it to light.
Wow.
Now it's one of my favorite typers.
Excellent. I'll definitely have to look for that.
But I think it's only on the deluxe versions. As I have a Traveler, the Traveler doesn't have the touch selector, but the deluxe version it has.
Oh.
So maybe it could be the basic version without deluxe, or there's even a deluxe S, I think, for the Traveler, which has a tabulator, and there you have a ribbon selector for red and black. But the basic version for my Traveler has only the basic functions. So maybe it could be that the deluxe version has a touch selector and the basic version not.
Yeah, I believe that the S on the segment cover stands for select. So it's the select model as opposed to the regular model.
Oh, okay.
Now, don't quote me on that. That's just what I believe.
know. Very cool. All right, let's see. Christoph, how are you doing?
Hello.
Hello.
Bonjour.
How are you?
I like your
I'm
t-shirt.
fine. No, yeah. Kodak limited series from a shop. No new machines, but spring is coming, and flea markets and antique markets are coming with.
Yes.
And I will go to a flea market next week if it's not raining. But no new machine. I have a lot of letters late. I have to answer to many people, and that's all for me.
Okay.
No news.
Okay. But hopefully you have something very interesting for us next week after your
Yeah, I
swap meet
hope.
or flea market or whatever they call it. Here in Southern California, we call it a swap meet. So yeah.
But I have a less place. I just
Yeah,
have
yeah.
for the moment just place here, and that's all. And
Oh yeah.
I built a new a new office for my computer, so I will add some new shelves. Maybe
Okay.
I could add some new plates for typewriters.
Yeah.
But the next is I'm trying to save money to buy a new computer, so I can't spend more on typewriters now. So
Yeah. All right. Well, it's so good to see you, Christoph.
good to see you too, and
Excellent.
to
Excellent.
see everyone.
Very good.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Daniel, how are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you very much.
Excellent. What's new in your world?
Oh, I'm working on the Groma Colibri, so it's been a Colibri kind of meeting today too.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I'm slowly progressing on that one. And I got a bunch of letters this week. I received. It seems like I had sent many letters, but quite a few came in at the same time from Bill, from Dennis in Germany. I got one from Switzerland from Carol. I got one from Neil, a package from Neil, and so on and so forth. So I got quite a number of letters actually that came in, and I forget how many, but I have 9 to reply to. So it comes in a wave. I like
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
It's always a surprise, and I love to read those letters. And I've been also reading quite a lot lately and discovering some new authors and new books. So, so some of my time is not just on on fixing typewriters. I also spend quite a number of hours every week reading. And it's nice when you walk into your public library and they say hello because they recognize you. So it's kind of I've always been a member of the public libraries wherever I lived, like from a very young age. That's what actually that's a story. I was late in progressing in learning how to read and write, having dyslexia, and my parents took me to the public library when I was young, and I got a card because there was a kids library in the bigger library, and I started reading comic books. And comic books, I read all of the comic books that were in that library for kids, and I swear all of them. And when I was old enough, so I started slowly, of course, but when I was old enough to bike on my own to the library, I would go one day. I would read a comic book there, and I would then borrow 3, take them home, read them, and and then return them and so on and so forth. So all that to say that I'm back into reading a lot more than when I was working full time. So that's
okay.
that's very, very nice.
Yes, yes.
And I find it super interesting, the discussion about the stamps behind the colibris or gromas and machines, and I love the history about it. So it's kind of fun to see people that dig into that. I'm sure that there might be a way to find a solution if somebody researches like some of the government import regulations for typewriters in those years.
Yeah.
There might be something, but one has to know how to access that information, and it can be a lot of work to get to the right document. So you can spend a lot
Yeah.
of time before you find the right answer.
Yes, yes.
And so it's funny also that people were talking, like Diane was talking about the Smith Corona and their serial number and their date number, or their because I also entered that information into the database for all of the machines that where I have a date code on the bottom. And since mine are made in Canada, that was also interesting to know if they follow the US codes or not. And I've had a discussion with Ted about that. Like there was quite a number of machines that came out of the plant in Canada, and we don't know if the codes are aligned or in sequence, I should say,
Yeah.
with the ones from the US. That's an interesting question. There's yet no, it's a cipher. It's still a secret cipher, I think, that date code. But I actually have my Electra 120 next to me, and I was typing using it. And I got a little international change of type kit. So that's for the
Cool.
Sears, right? So that's the Sears branded Smith Coronas, but it fits perfectly on the Smith Coronas. And so this is the international kit. And so you can see like those codes, and with that, I will be able to have one of my machine where I can type in English, French, Spanish, because I know how to speak those languages, but the same machine will be able to type in all those languages. Oh, except it it's missing, I guess, the upside down interrogation mark.
Oh,
Not interrogation, exclamation mark.
exclamation,
Sorry.
yeah.
It does have the interrogation mark here, but it's missing the exclamation mark. Anyway, it's a small thing. It's a small thing. I'll just add double exclamation marks at the end.
Yeah.
You want two? Well, you get two of the same.
Exactly.
And so yeah, I love and I do have one machine that already has quite a keyboard to be able to type in many languages. And I've talked about this machine before, and it's a brother. It's a late one, 1979. It's a JP7 model with a wide carriage, 12-inch carriage, and it has like the German characters. It has the French ones. It has the Spanish and Portuguese, and you could also do Italian with it because they're dead keys. So the trick there to be able to type out in all these different Roman languages and those that have accents that are Latin based is that they use more dead keys, and you have to type the vowel and then type the accent and then the vowel, which is a bit slower than when you have the accented letter already done, like in one character, and you type just once and you have it. But it allows a lot more flexibility, and it's peculiarity of that brother machine is that the letter layout, the layout of the letters on the keyboard is QWERTY, right? So it's it's very familiar to me. So I don't have to learn another keyboard and such. But the rest of the keys, like at the top, okay, the numbers are the same order, but some of the symbols, and at the top row, and the symbols on the right hand side, plus the dead keys, are in a quartz configuration, more like of a quartz configuration. And so there's no zero, for example. You use a capital O to do a zero, and so on and so forth. So that allows me to write. So I do have some correspondence that I write in Spanish too, and some type vowels. And I have some that I write in French and some that I write in English. And I'm not able to write in German, but I wish I would. I wish I did. So that'd be a lot of fun to be able to type in all these other languages.
Daniel, I'm so glad you mentioned that you have the Sears kit that fits the other Smith Corona, because I have a Sears Medalist, and it came with one kit. It came with the mathematical interchangeable keys, and I've been buying the regular Smith Corona interchangeables, and I'm like, I hope this fits, because I'm buying them off eBay and I haven't tried them. I don't know if it's going to fit my Sears, and I'm glad you know that it will. So they're interchangeable.
Yeah.
That's because they must be like the daisy wheel. Like some of them are going for crazy amounts of money on eBay, and I'm mindful of that. I'm not going to spend a fortune on like a key that's a special use that it's not going to be our everyday key. But I have been, when I find them on good deals, I've been buying them, and I'm just like, I hope they fit the Sears machine. They do. Yay.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's great. And I must say, I tried it on my Electra 120. It's a 1964 machine, and that seems to, I can't tell what's the age of, like what year this came out, but I think it works. I just want to say, Kimberly, that I also have Coronamatics electric tie bars, which are later, and the key tops are a different shape than on my Electra. Okay, and so those key tops here fit my Electra, but the key tops don't fit the Coronamatic.
Okay.
Because they're squarish. The Coronamatic has the squarish keys, whereas those are like chiclets.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean by when I say chiclets? I mean it. Oh, I'll take one out here. It's, I don't know if it's gonna show well, but oops. So you see how it's a little bit wider at the top and it's a little bit narrower and it's rounded, but the Coronamatics, this is squarish, like it's not like this.
Yeah.
So the Coronamatics do have change of type, but I haven't found a kit. Okay, I haven't been really searching hard. Maybe I should, because maybe I could also have the change of type for the Coronamatics. That'd be fine. That'd be fun.
Yeah, I bought one that was I thought would work. It had like red key tops. I noticed the same thing. The keys didn't fit. So then I did more research after and discovered that these ones with the red key tops, it was for a particular typewriter only, and it was like a student level. It was a cheaply made typewriter. It wasn't the same as the regular Smith Coronas. So that was my mistake. But I mean, I'll use it in either a craft project, make jewelry out of it or something. But it was disappointing that I wouldn't be able to use it for the typewriter purpose. So I've been buying other ones that I think I have faith now that Daniel's found it works. I think the other ones I've been buying were the correct ones that will work with my machine.
Yeah.
Nice.
It'd be cool. So maybe if you do have problems swapping the slugs, the type slugs, just get in touch with me through the directory. Send me a message, and we'll try to work it out.
Awesome, great. Because I'm pretty excited about I like to use little used keys like hyphens and square brackets, and I like to use them a lot. So having those keys is like exciting. Like, oh yeah, I get to use square brackets in my writing. instead of writing it in by pen after, right?
Oh,
Yeah. That's a lot of fun. So that's all for me. Thank you very
excellent,
much.
excellent.
And hello to everyone. It's been a pleasure to see everyone.
Yeah. So it looks like Indro is joining us from France. Is that right, Indro?
Yep.
Yay! How's it going?
It's going good. Just arrived,
Excellent.
what is it, 3 days ago. But I'll leave Tuesday and come back on the 1st of April and then stay until the end of August.
Oh, okay. Excellent.
Yeah. How are you?
Very good. Very good. Yeah. You caught us just
Yeah,
in time. We were about to wrap up.
I thought I'd just have a quick look because I was busy so much. I was working all day. So I just thought, oh, just have a look. And I saw, oh, it's still going on. So here I am.
Yeah. Excellent. Yeah. So now, have you moved some typewriters over to the new place?
Not yet, but a
Not
few
yet.
will follow. No,
Okay.
officially, we move on the 1st of April.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So this weekend was to prepare for arrival in April. So we did a lot of maintenance, cleaning, and preparing the whole house actually. So, but it's quite a lot of work.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, excellent.
Yeah.
I'm glad things are progressing for you, and that's very
Yep.
exciting.
And internet is working. That's
Yes.
most important.
Yeah. Definitely. Definitely. All right. Well, I think we're about to wrap up, but I'm glad you could come in and speak briefly with us.
Yeah. I will look it back. I see some familiar folks. So must be good.
Yeah. Yeah, we had some very interesting discussion, in particular about German typewriters. So
The Germans.
yes.
Well, they
All
make
right.
very good typewriters. But I'll listen.
Yes.
I'll look it back and I'll listen to it.
Very good. Very good.
Andrew,
Well,
I
it's
just
good to
got your
hear.
letter a couple days ago, so thank you very much.
Oh,
Cool. Okay, good. Good for you. Good.
excellent. All right. Well, thank you so much, everybody. It's been a very, very interesting discussion today. I'm fascinated by the USSR stamp on the back of those typewriters, and wow, there's so much to learn about these typewriters. And it's like digging through history. So yeah, very cool. All right. Well, thank you so much, everybody, and we will see you next week.
Thank you, Gregory.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
a lot.
Bye.
Good
See
night,
you.
everybody.
Have a
everybody.
good week.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Gregory.
You're
Bye.
welcome. Thank you. Bye-bye.
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 Cheerio.